you seen that girl, Kim Kardashian?
I knew he was the one when I went to his Paris fashion show.
Now I have two people to live for, a whole family to live for, a whole world to live for.
I love this guy right here. Let me get this guy.
I've decided in 2020 to run for president.
I will kill my daughter. No more plan B, plan A.
When I divorced him, it came down to just one thing, his personality.
Don't play with my children, and it's gonna be all legal.
The year is 2004, and Kanye West is in the studio with R&B singer Brandy, working on a new song called Talk About Our Love. Kanye co-wrote and featured on this track, a song ironically all about a relationship that isn't supported by one's friends or family. But more specifically, all of your friends and family gossiping about your amazing love affair. And coincidentally, it's during this romance-focused Kanye-Brandy studio session where Kanye West would end up having his very first close encounter with Brandy's personal stylist and friend, a young Kim Kardashian. But this isn't the surgically enhanced, clout-supercharged cultural oligarch Kim Kardashian that we know and hate today, because at this point in her career, she was just a talentless nobody, I know. Fresh out of her disastrous first marriage with music producer Damon Thomas, who Kim had married just age 19, allegedly high on ecstasy at the ceremony. It's messed up, but I bet the after party was lit. Now, in the end, Kim would break off this marriage with Thomas amid allegations that he was physically abusive to her. Allegations which, for the record, he does deny, describing Kim as a fame-hungry cheater who just used him to pay for surgeries and using her media infamy to make up for lack of talent. I honestly don't know who to believe. But what we do know is that before Kim's divorce from Damon Thomas was finalized, Kim Kardashian would begin a relationship with R&B singer Ray J. And in 2002, while still married to Damon Thomas, Kim Kardashian would go on vacation with Ray J. And it's on this vacation where Kim and Ray would film their infamous home movie, but that wouldn't surface for around 5 years. And so before the entire world would see Kim's talent in that home movie, Kim would have to make a living another way. But fortunately for Kim, Ray J was the younger brother of Brandy, that very singer that Kanye West was working in the studio with. So this connection would end up seeing Kim working as Brandy's stylist and meeting Kanye West in that studio session, and again when it came time to film the music video for that track. And funnily enough, even Ray J himself made a cameo in that music video alongside Kanye West, which I'm sure still eats him up to this day. So Kim would attend the shoot once again, getting some quality FaceTime with her future bae, Kanye West. Now, Kanye would remain with Alexis Pfeiffer for several years on from this point, but sadly for Alexis, Kim Kardashian had planted a dirty little seed in Kanye's brain that would only continue to grow over the following years. And Kanye would later reveal in a 2013 interview with Ryan Seacrest that in 2006, when he was still with Alexis, he saw this paparazzi photograph of Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian in Australia, with it being this specific set of pictures that would have Kanye falling head over heels for Kim, despite not even being able to pronounce her name properly.
I remember I saw a picture of her and Paris Hilton. I think they were in Australia. I remember telling my boy Don C, like, have you seen that girl, Kim Kardashian?
So despite falling in love with Kim Kardashian, or at least the idea of her, Kanye's ongoing engagement with Alexis and Kim's ongoing relationship with Ray J would prevent this ratchet Romeo and Juliet from being together. And over the next few years, both Kanye and Kim would flourish, rising through the ranks of the celebrity leaderboards. Kanye for his talents as one of the greatest musicians to ever emerge from the hip-hop genre, and Kim for being the daughter of the guy that got OJ off for murder. The Kardashian family have always been famous for the wrong reasons. In the 90s, famous football player O.J. Simpson was going through a messy divorce after splitting from his wife Nicole Brown. The Kardashian family and the Simpson family were apparently close, with Kim's mother, Kris Jenner, apparently even being a close personal friend of O.J.'s murdered wife Nicole. In fact, one of her other daughters, Kim's half-sister, Kendall Jenner's middle name is Nicole, a name apparently given to honor O.J.'s fallen wife. I mean, if only she'd have got O.J. a Pepsi, maybe none of this would have ever happened. But anywho, after Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman were brutally stabbed to death outside her home in 1994, O.J. Simpson would be named as the prime suspect, later being found responsible for the killings in civil court, as well as writing the suspiciously titled tell-all book, If I Did It. Despite the widespread belief that O.J. did indeed do it, Kim's father, Robert Kardashian, along with a crew of top lawyers known as the Dream Team, would make O.J.'s dream come true, helping him beat this double murder charge in criminal court, setting O.J. free and leaving him ample time to hunt down the real killer, any day now. Now, Robert Kardashian's role in setting O.J. Simpson free was the first major claim to fame for the Kardashian family, and as a result, O.J. Simpson and his legacy would play a massive part in the Kardashian children's lives. Hell, apparently in the lead up to the trial, O.J. Simpson was about to blow his brains out in Kim Kardashian's childhood bedroom.
O.J. was sitting right where you are, Barbara, but I also saw, wrapped in a towel, a gun. I said, O.J., I could never walk in this room. My daughter couldn't sleep in this bed. She'd know what happened here.
In fact, many years later, Kim and her sisters would even run into O.J. at the VIP section of a Miami nightclub, apparently bringing the Kardashian girls to tears. Crying, I assume, over news that he still hadn't found the real killers. Keep searching, O.J. In fact, according to this same USA Today article, Kim would also say that her and her sisters vowed never to discuss O.J. out of respect for his children, whom they apparently were close to before their mother was murdered. In fact, being the children of a rich and famous murder-getter-offer would see Kim and her sisters socializing in exclusive circles. And eventually, her second claim to fame, after nearly having her baby crib decorated with O.J.'s brains, would be her famous friends. During the time that she was dating Ray J, she would forge a close and well-publicized friendship with fellow talentless socialite Paris Hilton. Kim and Paris were the LA it girls before social media was even a thing. Kim would become Paris's stylist around 2003, famously appearing in an episode of The Simple Life rearranging Paris's wardrobe. And the talentless two would travel the world together, I imagine bonding over their shared love of expensive things. Well, it would turn out that Kim and Paris actually had one talent in common, because apart from being the great-granddaughter of the founder of a washed hotel brand, Paris Hilton had come on her back. Paris Hilton had come up off the back of a home movie herself. The infamous One Night in Paris tape. And the infamy gained from her appearance in this steamy but ultimately unsatisfying on-camera romp catapulted the middling model to sizzling stardom. Her reality TV series The Simple Life soon followed, with ratings supercharged by Paris Hilton's new image as the sexy socialite from the tape. And from here, her career would go from strength to strength. And it was during these years of Paris Hilton's come-based come-up that she would be closest to Kim Kardashian. And ultimately, Kim would end up following in Paris's sticky footsteps, replicating the Paris Hilton rise to fame to a T. As despite spending numerous years denying its very existence, in March 2007, Kim and Ray J's home movie would release to Jack Shacks all over America under the title Kim Kardashian Superstar. The distributor of the tape, Vivid Entertainment, had allegedly paid an unnamed party $1 million for a copy of this tape, with some rumors even circulating that the very person who leaked this tape was Kim Kardashian's own mother, Kris Jenner, who legend has it had masterminded a master plan for Kim to achieve fame in the same way that Paris Hilton did. Now, for the record, and so that I don't get sued, these allegations have been denied by the Kardashian family and their representatives. However, Kim would later joke about her own mother planning her sex tape's release in her 2021 Saturday Night Live monologue.
I mean, actually, I only had that one movie come out, and no one told me it was even premiering. It must have slipped my mom's mind.
Now, according to numerous reports, following the release of the tape, Kim would allegedly cut a sweet deal with Vivid Entertainment to allow the film's distribution to continue in exchange for a $5 million settlement, with reports surfacing in 2022 that suggested that she had made as much as $20 million from this tape alone. And like clockwork, only a few months after that tape's release, in October 2007, the family-led reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians would debut on the E! Entertainment Network. And so, after a very slippery come-up, the Kardashian clan would spend the following years blurring the lines between reality and reality TV, doing anything they could to cultivate a spectacle around their family, and living a lifestyle synonymous with the idea of famous just for being famous. None of them particularly talented, but one does have to admire the innate talent of being able to spin so much out of essentially nothing. If those reports are to be believed, Kris Jenner really did mastermind an empire off of her daughter's back. Off the back of her daughter's sex tape and failed marriage with a famous body beater. In many ways, Kris Jenner is truly the most talented pimp and gangster that the reality TV game has ever seen. But while the Kardashian family took their first steps towards cultural infamy, Kanye West would be building his reputation in the complete opposite way. Because in stark contrast to the Kardashians, capitalizing off their father's famous lack of integrity, Kanye West was raised by a humble mother of the utmost integrity. And starting out from absolutely nothing, he would build his career off of the back of pure talent and hard work, making a name for himself by creating brilliant and original music, using his songs to preach the values he was taught that resonated to the masses. Music which sadly today seems a million miles away from the fame-hungry media spectacle that his family would eventually become. Now, I don't need to recap the Kanye come-up story, because that was chronicled firsthand in the brilliant 3-part Netflix series Genius. But But what I will say is that in 2005, when Kim Kardashian was following Paris Hilton all around the world, slurping up clout like some sort of clout slurping machine, Kanye West would be releasing a little song called Gold Digger, the anthem rallying against gold-digging women who would use men as stepping stones and wallets. It had witty bars about gold-digging chicks who would use child support money for plastic surgery, and a breakdown where Kanye would lead men in a chant demanding prenups and reminding men everywhere that divorce will end up in the woman taking half of their money. It was safe to say at this point that Kanye West was destined for stardom and running on pure talent. His personal perspective that he was putting into his songs was pure gold, and he was able to make hit after hit by just expressing his true feelings about the world, standing head and shoulders above his peers in this generation of rappers. And while others were making hollow, shallow tracks about money, hedonism, and chasing girls, Kanye was flipping the script, making deep, thoughtful songs about Jesus, ill-intentioned women, and his own insecurities. And it's ironic that the Kanye West that we know today seems to have mutated so far from the values that drew people to him in the first place. In fact, looking at this era of Kanye West's career, there's so many examples of lyrics and songs that seem to foreshadow his future failed relationships. The following year, in 2006, Kanye West would assist West Coast legend The Game on his song Wouldn't Get Far, a sample-driven track where Game and Ye would discuss the life of hip-hop groupies, women who would use their sexuality to try and weasel their way into the rap game and get their claws into the famous rappers they were rubbing shoulders with. Kanye had lyrics in this song pondering if women wouldn't be with the famous rappers if they weren't rich, high-value men. And funnily enough, one of these clout-chasing rapper gobblers that The Game was talking about on this very track with Kanye West was none other than Kim Kardashian herself, with Kim and Paris being seen looking very cozy with The Game back in 2006 when this song was released. Gold Digger and Wouldn't Get Far would be two iconic tracks which would come back to haunt Kanye West in the future. As with The Game's close relationship with Kim Kardashian, but none of what was going on at the time appeared to put Kanye off pursuing her. And as we know, he still became completely obsessed with her after seeing those sizzling paparazzi pics from Australia alongside Paris Hilton this very same year. I mean, just think about this for a second, right? Kanye West made a song with The Game about hot chicks that use up and spit out rappers. Kim and Paris are quite literally hanging off The Game like a G-Unit chain, and Kanye West still said, you know what? I'll have a piece of that. It's crazy. In fact, it seemed that the only thing stopping Kanye West from truly taking his shot at Kim Kardashian at this point was his own relationship and engagement with Alexis Pfeiffer that was still going on at this point. But even with Alexis on his arm, it seemed like Kanye West was doing everything he could to try and penetrate Kim's inner circle, with the three of them even being pictured together at an event in September 2007, and I'm pretty sure most people would look at this picture and genuinely assume that Kim and Kanye were the couple, not Alexis. But setting that aside for a minute, unfortunately, only a few months after that photo was taken, and not long after the release of Kanye's third album, the mega hit Graduation, tragedy would strike in Kanye's personal life. In November 2007, Kanye's beloved mother, mentor, and manager Donda West would tragically pass away following plastic surgery. Donda West in many ways fell victim to the Hollywood lifestyle that Kanye's talent had brought them into. The plastic surgery and image-obsessed lifestyle that the Kardashian family would go on to dominate, because Donda West passed away in her home not long after a liposuction procedure that she had gone through with the express purpose of improving her appearance to better fit in with the Hollywood lifestyle that her son had brought her into. The circumstances surrounding Donda West's death are suspicious and painful. If you'd like a deeper understanding, there's a full 45-minute breakdown of the entire situation elsewhere on my channel. But setting aside the grisly details, one thing was for sure: the death of Donda West was the most significant event in Kanye West's entire life. The loss of his mother changed his course drastically, and not only did he no longer have the level-headed guidance and support system that his mother had provided for him his whole life, but he would openly blame himself for his mother's passing and refusing himself any time to grieve for this devastating loss. Kanye has said in numerous interviews that he blames himself and his move to Los Angeles for his mother's death, telling one interviewer, "When I moved to LA, she moved to LA, and she wound up in a place that would eat her alive. Even if I stayed in New York, it wouldn't have been like that. If I'd have lived in New York, she'd still be here." And another saying, "I moved to California, so did my mum. I feel my mum moved to California and did stuff she wouldn't have done if she was still in Chicago." And another, when Kanye was asked what he felt he sacrificed the most to achieve his level of success, he replied, his mum. "If I'd have never moved to LA, she'd still be alive." I don't want to go far into it because because it'll bring me to tears. Only 12 days after the death of his beloved mother, Kanye played his first concert at the O2 Arena in London. At this show, Kanye dedicated a performance of his tribute song Hey Mama to his mother Donda West. This is something he would keep doing as touring continued year after year. In fact, to this day, there are numerous instances you can go and watch of Kanye attempting to perform this song, breaking down, overcome with grief, and being unable to finish the performance. And even outside of the music, Kanye was going on grief-stricken on-stage rants only weeks after his mother's passing.
50 people, 100 people I ain't never talked to in like the past 3 years call me out the blue, call me talking about, I just want to tell you that I'm giving you support and stuff, and I appreciate the support and all that, but don't suggest what I'm supposed to do, you know. What you need to do, you just need to stop touring, you just need to go home and clear your head. Go home to what, motherfucker? Because if they see you out, and you go outside, and then the media catches it, man, fuck the media. And there's nothing that she loves more than to come to the shows and scream louder than any fan, because she was my first fan that was screaming before anybody else. If she was here, she would tell me to get on that stage and kill it, dog. She would tell me to go on this glow in the dark tour and take over the world and be #1 like how I taught you to be, baby.
And Kanye did go on that glow-in-the-dark tour and take over, no matter how hard it was on him. But before he set off on that tour, he broke off his engagement with his longtime fiancée Alexis Pfeiffer, with it being said that his relationship was simply at odds with his new life on the road. The loss of his mother and his relationship represented a devastating double heartbreak for Kanye during this time. Both of the women who had been there for him his entire come-up were now gone. Now, the majority of the songs on 808s and Heartbreak were about Kanye's breakup with Alexis and the feelings of intense heartbreak that he was going through during this time. But Kanye did touch on the true dark cloud that was over him during this time, caused by the devastating loss of his mother, on just 2 tracks near the end. There was Coldest Winter, a song about how Kanye felt after finding out that he had lost his mother, and Pinocchio's Story, an on-stage freestyle where Kanye breaks down and essentially blames himself for his mother's death, a song that was apparently only included on the album at the direct request of Beyoncé herself. Kanye's therapy was his music, and the music was a huge success. After 808s and Heartbreak, Kanye was on top musically and career-wise, but perhaps people were dead right when they had said that he really should have taken a break during this hectic period, as it was only a year after this in 2009 on that fateful night where Kanye confronted Taylor Swift on stage at the VMAs, swiftly becoming public enemy #1. And in his apology for that incident on Jay Leno, Kanye would justify his actions, saying that he never truly got an opportunity to grieve for his mother.
I was fortunate enough to meet your mom and talk with your mom a number of years ago. What do you think she would have said about this? Would she be disappointed in this? Would she give you a lecture?
Yeah, you know, obviously, you know, I deal with hurt, and, you know, so many, you know, celebrities, they never take the time off, and I've never taken the time off to really, you know, I just music after music and tour after tour and tour, and I'm just ashamed that my hurt caused, you know, someone else's hurt. My dream of what award shows were supposed to be caused, you know, and I don't try to justify it because I was just in the wrong. That's period. But I need to, after this, take some time off and just analyze how I'm gonna, you know, make it through the rest of this life, how I'm going to improve.
After the death of his mother and subsequent breakup with his longtime girlfriend Alexis, Kanye was left with a hole in his heart. And despite making some amazing music over this period, he essentially went off the rails and ended up being involved with several women and scandals during this period. He famously dated Amber Rose, who was by his side during that shameful incident where he interrupted Taylor Swift's speech at the VMAs. But while Kanye was going through this turbulent time in his life, the Kardashian family were milking their newfound reality TV fame for all it was worth. And in a pre-social media age, Kim Kardashian was taking any offer that came her way in order to keep her name and face in the media at all times. She took a role in Scary Movie spin-off Disaster Movie. She was in season 7 of Dancing with the Stars, something that Kanye would actually mock her for years later in a lyric on his Jesus is King. But funnily enough, also in this period where she would pretty much do anything for money, she ended up guest starring in a TV pilot for Kanye's failed hip-hop puppet sketch comedy show called Alligator Boots. Kanye had apparently asked for Kim to appear in the show specifically around the time that her home movie was still doing the rounds. And Kim would end up starring alongside Kanye himself in a bizarre and sexually charged sketch.
And I want to have like Kim Kardashian play Princess Leia because, you know, Kim Kardashian's ass is just perfect.
Kim Kardashian, but I'm supposed to be Princess Leia today.
Ultimately, the show was never picked up, but Kim would later write that it was this encounter where she felt she first had a spark with Kanye. However, despite that spark, at this point Kim Kardashian was now dating New Orleans Saints running back, whose name is synonymous with bad marijuana, Reggie Bush. But despite Kanye West also dating Amber Rose at this time, he would continue to have chance encounters with Kim. In 2009, Kim was seen front row at the Y3 fashion show with Reggie Bush, and story goes, Kanye came to the event solo and managed to snag a seat just one chair away from Kim herself. But Kanye's stalking of Kim Kardashian wouldn't just be physical, it would be lyrical too, as it's alleged that bars he rapped on Kerry Hilson's April 2009 track Knock You Down were a reference to his crush on Kim Kardashian and jealousy of the relationship with Reggie Bush, calling her the cheerleader of his dreams, saying that she dates the head of football teams, that he's the class clown that always had her laughing, which in my opinion is probably a reference to the fact that he tried to get in with her from a comedy sketch. And it wasn't just the lyrics. In the music video for this song, while Kanye is rapping these lyrics, an actor who looks suspiciously like Reggie is seen on screen. And Kanye would end the song by saying outright, "You should leave your boyfriend now." Well, apparently this declaration of love didn't work, because for the time being, Kim and Kanye would remain in separate relationships. But that would all change in 2010. Now, this was a big year for both Kim and Kanye. As an indicator of just how famous Kim had gotten by this point, she would end up getting a Madame Tussauds wax figure made of her, giving fans the opportunity to see what a completely plastic Kim Kardashian would look like 10 years early. She would also appear alongside another grotesque lump of plastic, Donald Trump, in season 10 of The Apprentice. And this would ironically be the beginning of a friendship that would end up playing an enormous part in both her career and marriage in the future. But it was in March 2010 that reports emerged that Kim Kardashian and Reggie Bush had broken up, with the papers suggesting that it was fame that had driven them apart, with Reggie Bush apparently growing tired of never knowing where his girlfriend was. And only a few months after that, in July 2010, Kanye and Amber Rose would split up too. Now, the details of the breakup were initially a little bit light, amid rumors that Amber Rose had been forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding her relationship. But Kanye would later open up about things coming to an end in an interview with Angie Martinez.
Nobody's happy all the time, and that's why like all good things have to come to an end.
That was surprising because you did from the pictures. You guys seemed to be you had something.
Yeah, man, it was an amazing time, you know, and it came to an end.
Did it end good? Are you guys on good terms?
Hey, I'm on good terms with everyone.
With the world?
With the world, you know what I'm saying?
It didn't really seem that Amber was on good terms, as she was later seen out getting some get back and getting close to Reggie Bush himself. In fact, Amber would later describe her fling with Reggie as a rebound in a cover story interview for Vibe magazine, with Amber also coming out to say that she felt that Kim Kardashian was directly responsible for her and Kanye's split, revealing to the world that Kim had cheated on Reggie Bush with Kanye, and Amber Rose essentially branding Kim Kardashian as a homewrecker. According to Amber, Kim had even been sending dirty photos to Kanye whilst they were still together and refusing to stop once Amber had told her to. And that alleged affair behind Reggie and Amber's back was later confirmed by Kanye collaborator Consequence. Now, the funny thing is, around this time, Kanye would also tell Angie Martinez in that same interview that one of the good things about dating Amber was that she was so disconnected to the celebrity lifestyle that she brought him down to earth and taught him to treat regular people a little bit nicer.
One of the greatest things that she showed me was just to be a nicer person, because she was so disconnected from the concept of celebrity when I first met her that she would, you know, it's like a celebrity could be talking to people crazy and stuff like that. Everyone's used to it at the label. It's like, whatever. They're like, he's wilding out.
They let you get away with it.
And he'd be like, she'd be like, what? You just talk to your fans so crazy right now. I'm not even talking to you right now. And I grew from that. That was like the greatest thing. I think that was the greatest growth that I got from that experience.
And in a hilarious twist, Kanye would go on to say that this is a complete one-off and that he is never dating anyone like that again.
So would you do that again? Like, will your next girlfriend be somebody that you...
No.
That's it? One time? That was a one time only?
Yeah, that was a one-off.
Ye would go on to say prophetically that the next relationship he gets into must be the one for marriage and for family.
You know, I'm not trying to dive into anything that, unless I really think that I could marry this person, and like, I look at this person and I say, this is how I want my daughter to be.
Building a house on a foundation of sand comes to mind here, because if your relationship is built on a foundation of infidelity and betrayal, how can you really expect that relationship to go the distance? But clearly, wrapped up in the allure of her celebrity, her physical beauty, and the brand of Kim Kardashian, newly single Kanye West set out to conquer his ideal woman, looking to secure the ideal woman to build the ideal family and start a future together. And Kim would do the same thing, but not before marrying another athlete for a few months of clout. Only a few months after her alleged home-wrecking romp with Kanye West, in October 2010, Kim Kardashian begins dating Kris Humphries, a basketball player on the New Jersey Nets. Less than a year later, in May 2011, Kim is engaged to Kris, and they get married in August, with a lucrative two-part special covering the wedding airing on E! In October 2011. Now, apparently there was a media blitz surrounding this wedding, and many people were quick to point out that this seemed to be a sham wedding conducted purely for money and clout, with endless footage in the lead up to the wedding showcasing the couple's visible hatred for each other.
He hates me.
It's normal. This is all normal.
We hate each other. Is that normal? Because I hate him. Every last thing annoys me.
Kim Kardashian's former publicist, Jonathan Jackson, would later come out to describe the entire thing as an obvious sham, an allegation that, for the record, the Kardashians and E! Denied, going as far as to bring legal proceedings against Jackson, forcing him to publicly apologize. So, just for the record, and so that I don't get sued, I just want to make it very clear that I personally do not believe that Kim Kardashian's relationship with Kris Humphries was a sham for money and clout. Definitely not. Kim Kardashian would never do that. Come on, I mean, if Kim wasn't serious about making this marriage work, then she wouldn't have released a commemorative fragrance called Love on the month of the wedding, would she? But in the end, Kim's love would end up being very smelly indeed. And despite everything that Kim had said about their love being real, after 72 days of marriage, but only 18 days after the marriage was broadcast, Kim would file for divorce in October, citing irreconcilable differences. With this ironically coming out only a few weeks after Kim and Kris renewed their vows in a sketch on the Ellen DeGeneres show, which would hilariously pan them to their stupid faces for selling the rights to their wedding.
This mecca of daytime television, we reaffirm the bond of marriage between Kris Humphries and Kim Kardashian, all rights reserved, E! Television Productions.
Now, once again, Kim Kardashian denied the relationship being fake in an interview with Oprah, but at the same time acknowledging that the marriage was rushed and that her heart wasn't truly in it.
Anyone that knows me knows that I love so hard. I fall in love fast.
So you didn't marry to get ratings?
No.
Kris Humphries claimed to be completely blindsided by Kim's decision to divorce, but apparently Kim was moving on, and fast. Being spotted out in public without a wedding ring within weeks of the split, as it seems the circle of clout continues. And so, after a few months out of the limelight, in April 2012, while still legally married to Humphries, Kim Kardashian would find herself a new boyfriend and storyline in Kanye West. Many years later, Kanye would reveal that when Kim got with Kris Humphries, he bought his very first cell phone just to keep in touch with her, apparently spending months repeatedly sending her pictures of washed-up basketball players to try and sabotage her feelings for him. Fuck a dirty dick pic, he's sending her washed-up ball pics. And when that marriage did finally end, it was clear that Kanye had been circling like a vulture over the carcass of Kim's fallen marriage for quite some time. Throughout the relationship, Kanye had been seen skulking around Kim Kardashian. Kim would later tell a story of dining with Kanye West at the Soho house when she was still married, with his face apparently dropping every time he caught a glimpse of her wedding ring. And so in the month following the official breakup, there were reports in the media that Kim and Kanye had been canoodling at a Watch the Throne after party thrown by billionaire Ron Burkle, with Kim even tweeting the morning after that last night was cray. She probably ordered that crayfish with fish sticks, eh? South Park. After that, in March 2012, Kim would be spotted front row at Kanye's runway show at Paris Fashion Week and apparently cozying up to him at the after party, with her describing him as a very good friend. Very good try, Kim. And of course, we now know that they were already much more than friends, with Kim actually later telling Vogue magazine that this was the moment that she knew that Kanye West was the one for her.
I knew he was the one when I went to his Paris fashion show.
And while Kim had already been exposed by Amber Rose as an alleged homewrecker at this point, Kim would continue to play innocent for a few more months. Meanwhile, in April, in his collab track with DJ Khaled, Terraflu aka Cold, Kanye would actually address his relationship status, saying the whole industry wants to smash his old chick, the only person he got respect for is Wiz. This is a reference to Amber Rose moving on to date Wiz Khalifa, with Ye going on to say in the song, "And I'll admit, I had fell in love with Kim around the same time she had fell in love with him. Well, that's cool, baby girl, do your thing. Lucky I ain't have Jay dropping from the team." He's saying he fell for Kim around the same time she fell for Chris Humphries, with that last line being a reference to the fact that the team Chris Humphries had played for, the Nets, Jay-Z formerly owned a very small share of. A share of 0.15% actually, so I'm not exactly sure how much input he had over the roster at that time. Maybe Jay-Z could have kicked a teeny tiny part of him off the team. Anyway, Kim and Kanye would finally reveal their more than friends status in May 2012, when Kim and Kanye are seen together at the Cannes Film Festival, embracing together at the debut of Kanye's Cruel Summer short film. In the month following this, reporters also noticed that both Kim and Kanye had listed their homes for sale, sparking speculation that they were planning to move in together already. And clearly they would need a place with a big ass garage, because on the 8th of June 2012, Kim would make headlines for buying Kanye West a Lamborghini Aventador worth hundreds of thousands of dollars for his birthday. I don't know how these celebrity socialites get down, but I guess buying the Lambo is when you truly know that it's real. And later that month, Kim would appear on Oprah's Next Chapter, openly discussing her relationship with Kanye, saying that she's known him for years as friends, and sharing that they had both bonded over the loss of their parents after Kim's father Robert Kardashian passed away from cancer.
We've been friends for like 6 or 7 years. So it's very comforting to have someone that knows everything about you, can really relate to his mother passing. He can really relate to my father passing. I mean, there's so many similarities in our life.
So it's official. Kim Ye is now officially an item, but much like Kim's previous relationship with Chris Humphries, things are about to move fast. And even with the divorce between Kim and Chris not yet finalized, soon Kim and Kanye would be bound together by something much more important than a marriage certificate and a check from E! Entertainment. Over the course of the second half of 2012, Kim and Kanye would get more and more loved up, and they weren't shy about promoting it either. They appeared in promotional videos for the VMAs alongside Kevin Hart, showing themselves off as Hollywood's hottest it couple.
Paparazzi is downstairs. It's their first time getting a whiff of this.
A whiff of what?
A whiff of this! Us! I'm talking about the new it couple. I'm talking about Kanye Kim. I just made that up as trademark, don't steal it.
Are you serious right now?
In October, Kanye would whisk Kim off for a birthday getaway in Rome, where they shopped till they dropped, and kissed openly for all the paparazzi to see. Also in October, Kanye's track White Dress leaks, with it releasing officially the following month on the soundtrack to the RZA's Man with the Iron Fists. And the track has lyrics where Kanye appears to refer to his exclusive relationship, and alludes to a potential future marriage with Kim, with numerous references to a white dress. Now, some papers would take this track as something of a musical proposal, but before marriage was even on the table, Kanye would have another announcement. In December 2012, in a New Year's Eve show in Atlantic City, Kanye had the DJ stop the music, announcing to the whole venue that Kim was his new baby mama.
Stop the music for a second, stop the music. Can we make some noise for my baby mama real quick while she
Kim would confirm the announcement on her website, saying the following.
It's true, Kanye and I are expecting a baby. We feel so blessed and lucky, and wish that in addition to both of our families, his mum and my dad could be here to celebrate this special time with us. Looking forward to great new beginnings in 2013 and to starting a family. Happy New Year!
But the public positivity around this blessing would later be punctured. Kim would later say in an interview with Glamour magazine that she had only been dating Kanye around 7 months at this point and was still in the middle of a messy divorce with Chris Humphries, suggesting initially that she hadn't even planned to go through with this. This is something that Kanye would later reveal in dramatic fashion during a presidential speech, where he even admitted that he was sleeping with so many women around this period, saying that his first thought when Kim Kardashian called him crying to give him the news was that she was calling to tell him that he had given her AIDS.
I remember that my girlfriend called me screaming and crying. I was just thinking, because at that time I was a rapper, I was out there, I had different girlfriends and everything. So my girlfriend called me and I just thought to myself, please don't tell me I gave Kim Kardashian AIDS. That's gonna be the worst thing. She said, I just came from the doctor. I was like, oh my God, don't tell me I gave her AIDS. Because I was having like, you know, the rapper's lifestyle.
Ultimately, Kim decided that being in her 30s, this might be her only opportunity to have a child, ultimately taking the plunge and not looking back, and selecting Plan A, regardless of Kanye's readiness to be a father. But the only problem is, at this point, Kim was still married to Kris Humphries, and after Kanye's onstage announcement, it was reported in January 2013 that Kris was dragging out proceedings in order to prevent Kim and Kanye from tying the knot. And by the end of that month, it was even reported that Kris Humphries had apparently turned down a $10 million settlement offer from Kim, with the reasoning for this allegedly being that Kris Humphries was trying to file for an annulment on the grounds of fraud. He wanted Kim to admit that the marriage was a sham, but Kim's $10 million offer would not accept those claims, so it was rejected. This was a bold move, but ultimately Kris Humphries' strategy would completely flop, because in the end, he would end up taking a big L in the divorce proceedings after months of battle and his own lawyer bowing out of the case, admitting that there was no evidence of fraud. Kris Humphries would eventually agree to a settlement which included zero payment and the dropping of his request of an annulment on grounds of fraud, and even having to take responsibility for his own attorney's fees. Frankly, it seems like Kim Kardashian's divorce lawyers are complete sharks, and I feel sorry for the next guy she gets divorced from. But for now, Kim and Kanye would take the W, with Kim and Kris's divorce proceedings being finalized within just weeks of her child with Kanye being due, with Kim apparently even celebrating her divorce and her baby shower in the same week. A class act, but the bar was set to get even lower from here, as only days before their first child was born, rumors would surface that Kanye West had been cheating on Kim Kardashian with a Canadian model, with her claiming to have been scouted by one of Kanye's team and brought backstage at a show, and alleging that Kanye had told her that the relationship with Kim was just for the media. Now, once again, Kim and Kanye spokespeople have vehemently denied these claims. I don't want to get sued, so I definitely I don't know. And in all fairness, some people have suggested that the woman making the allegations was just looking for a payday in selling the story to the papers. On the one hand, I could believe that, but then on the other hand, you've got Kanye West saying that he was hooking up with so many girls that he thought he'd given Kim Kardashian AIDS. And going forward, we're going to see plenty more allegations of infidelity too. But again, this really just shows you the shaky foundations that this relationship was built on. Kim narrowly avoided her child being born while she was still married to Kris Humphries. The papers are reporting on Kanye having affairs, and Kim's ex is in court saying that the marriage was a sham. And yet, with all of this floating around, Kanye West was still itching to get into the relationship and escalate things with Kim. And so, amid all of these dramas, Kim and Kanye's first child was born on June the 15th, 2013. An adorable baby girl with a slightly less adorable name, Northwest, like the direction. With this coming after Kim had denied that she'd be going with the bizarre compass-inspired name after a joke was made about it on Jay Leno.
That is not true. That's not one of the names on our list. But you know what name I do like, but it probably won't be on, is I do like, because it kind of goes with North, I like Easton West.
Fans and pundits alike were nauseated by the pun-based name for Kim and Kanye's first child. However, at least she would have the slightly more palatable nickname Nori to fall back on, I assume taking at least a small bit of inspiration from rapper, podcaster and interrupter Noriega. And of course from here the Kardashians, in keeping with family tradition of cashing in on the most precious moments of life, debuting Northwest's first baby pictures alongside an exclusive interview with Kanye West on Kris Jenner's short-lived talk show, Kris.
I pray that she looks like her mother when she's older.
I think she's an amazing combination of the two of you. She's so beautiful.
Now, Kanye would also say in this very interview that after he'd lost his mother, he felt he had nothing to live for. But it was Kim and his new child that had given him purpose again.
After I, lost my mother, there was times I felt like, sometimes I didn't have something to live for. And now I have, two really special people to live for, a whole family to live for, a whole world to live for.
And so Kim and Kanye, having welcomed their first child into the world, and Kim having finally freed herself of her long-dragging union with Kris Humphries, would finally be free to form the perfect family. And in the months that followed, in the lead up to tying the knot, Kanye would make a number of romantic and cringe-worthy gestures, showing the world just how much he loved his new baby mother. Soon after Kim drops her first child, Kanye drops his fifth album, Yeezus. And this was an album of a lot of extremes. But one of the most iconic pieces of Kim and Kanye media was born out of the final track on this project, the song Bound 2, a love song where Kanye claims that he is bound to his new love, Kim Kardashian. But it was the music video that caught more attention than the song, with the vid famously depicting a topless Kim Kardashian riding on the front of Kanye's motorbike. A music video which Kanye later explained on The Breakfast Club as an attempt to recreate white trash t-shirt style, borrowing the imagery of a hot naked chick on a motorbike, but in Kanye's vision having a black protagonist. Whilst Kanye was clowned for his cringeworthy show of affection, he was truly serious about being bound to his newfound love. In an October Zane Lowe interview, Kanye said that Kim gave him something money couldn't buy, his family, which truly meant everything to him.
It's what Kim gave me. Yeah. She gave me everything. She gave me a family. She gave me a support system.
Kim gave Kanye everything money couldn't buy. And in return, Kanye wanted to give Kim the world. And after the courts gave Kim the divorce she had wanted for so long, Kanye was free to pop the question and make Kim his queen. And Ye's proposal would come on October the 21st, 2013, in time for Kim's 33rd birthday. With this happening only around a year and a half into their relationship, Kanye went ahead and threw a massive surprise proposal, hiring out the AT&T basketball park in San Francisco, getting down on one knee with the words "Please marry me" up in lights on the scoreboard, with Kanye popping the question backed by a string orchestra, but sadly no auto-tune. It looked like Kim's response was a resounding yes, with friends and family then rushing the field to join them for a celebratory drink, toasting to the happy super couple. As the celebrations continued, Kim and Kanye would jam out to his very own music, of course. However, you might be interested to know that the very clips of the proposal you just saw were actually strictly forbidden, as Kanye's grand gesture was initially intended to be super secret. Attendees at the proposal were allegedly forced to sign NDAs, but this apparently didn't stop former YouTube CEO Chad Hurley backing out the iPhone and capturing a few shots against his contractual obligations. This prompted Kim and Kanye to duly sue him, and they even won a reported $440,000 in court, which funnily enough probably helped Kim and Kanye claw back a bit of the expenses that they had invested in this grand proposal. But don't think for a second that that was done to protect Kanye or Kim's art or privacy. No, in yet another prime example of the Kardashian clan, and now Kanye too, attempting to squeeze as much profit as possible out of their relationships and personal lives. Of course, the real reason they were pissed off is because the clip of the proposal was uploaded to the internet, and we all know that first dibs to any money made off of footage of the Kardashians is reserved for Kim and her family, god dang it. And much like the pictures of their first child, or the footage of her botched marriage to Kris Humphries, true Kardashian fans would have to wait to catch a glimpse of this beautiful moment in full HD when broadcast on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
I am so excited for Kim and Kanye. I cannot wait to run out on the field.
Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but when Kim first tied the knot with Kanye, it was reported her net worth was $45 million. Not bad for a, well, I don't really know what she does. But at the point of their marriage, the combined net worth of both Kanye and Kim was an estimated $155 million, with Kanye contributing a whopping 110 mil. That's million, not milliliters, though I think he contributed a few of those in the end. Interestingly, it was also alleged in reporting around their net worths that Kim had allegedly made a whopping $18 million off the back of her previous wedding to Kris Humphries. Frankly, weddings are one of her biggest earners, and in the end it does seem like the Kanye marriage would end up paying dividends to Kim, but more on that later. After the incredibly lavish proposal had been accepted by Kim, Kanye was head over heels and going all in on their new relationship. If the ultimate PDA of the Bound 2 video wasn't enough, going forward Kanye was publicly on the warpath to prove to the world just how much he loved Kim. In January 2014, Kanye was reportedly suspected on battery charges after attacking an allegedly racist 18-year-old man who had insulted Kim on the street, with reports later coming out that Kanye had, quote, pummeled the man like a boxer after Kim had admonished him for insulting nearby paparazzi who were blocking her way. In a way, it's incredibly romantic that Kanye would come to Kim's defense like a superhero, but unfortunately it does fit in with a long-running trend of Kanye losing his temper and escalating verbal confrontations to fistfights, with Ye the previous year getting into hot water after putting the beats on a paparazzi at LAX airport. Nonetheless, at this point Kanye was beginning to play the role as Kim's protector, and their whirlwind romance was catching headline after headline. After delivering a 1,000-knuckle sandwich to an op on the street, on Valentine's Day Kanye West would deliver 1,000 roses to his bae. And ahead of the wedding, Kim and Kanye were allegedly pouring millions of dollars into renovating their Los Angeles home together. And apparently at a certain point Kanye had become a complete control freak regarding the design of the property. It was said originally that Kim was planning the property's design to be inspired by the lavish Palace of Versailles. However, apparently Kim's Trumpian interior decorating plans plans were dashed by Kanye, perhaps having something to do with the fact that the real-life Palace of Versailles turned down the couple's request to stage their wedding there, with this apparently being followed by Kanye's decision to completely change the planned design of the property, opting for a hyper-minimalist approach, with the implementation of his new vision and tearing out the changes that they had already made, estimated to be costing the couple as much as $30 million. And Kim and Kanye would take the same minimal approach when it came to choosing their new wedding venue, with their eventual May 2014 wedding taking place at Fort de Belvedere in Florence, Italy, a 16th century fortress with far more low-key, but still lavish settings for the couple to make their lifelong commitments to each other's love. And despite this venue being slightly less showy than their initial first choice, this minimal fortress did not come cheap, with the venue being allegedly hired for the grand sum of €300,000. Now, fun little history fact for you here, this fortress was built to protect the ruling Medici family at the time, and the choice of the Medici family fortress likely was chosen specifically by Kanye, who often name drops the historical family in his rambling rants, I assume to prove that he's, much smarter and better than everyone else.
I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. Now who's gonna be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more?
Well, I'll tell you who won't do that, Kanye, the actual Medici family, whose surviving members actually came out to slam Kim and Kanye's choice of their historical fortress as their wedding venue due to its classification as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But Kim and Kanye refused to let history prevent them from making history, pressing on with their nuptials at the historic venue, local outrage be damned. The wedding itself had reportedly 600 VIP guests. Notably absent was Jay-Z and Beyonce. Despite early reports that the Jigga Man would be Kanye West's best man, it would later emerge that Jay-Z had actually turned down Kanye's offer as best man, because apparently in a stroke of pure class, him and Beyonce refused to take part in the filming of the wedding as they knew it would be used in episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, with it being reported in the media that Beyonce was mortified at the idea of being included in the Kardashians' trashy reality show. It seems that this disagreement would later drive a wedge between Kanye and Jay-Z's historic friendship, with their collapsing relationship later playing a significant role in Kanye West's mental decline. And so eventually the big day came, and despite turning down the full-blown ceremony, at least the pre-wedding party would still take place at the Palace de Versailles in Paris, with the pre-wedding event apparently being so closely guarded it was subject to a no-fly zone. Hell, hopefully Kim's next wedding party takes place in Kiev. In fact, on top of that, the wedding ceremony itself taking place in Italy allegedly was intensely guarded by the Italian military and what the news described as a private army of security, apparently all with the intention of keeping paparazzi from outside of the walls of the fortress. Because of course not a single photograph is going to be taking place in a Kardashian event without Kris having a little taste. Of course, in the end, pictures were captured and the private ceremony was intensely covered by media across the globe.
Pop culture queen Kim Kardashian making her way down the aisle in Givenchy in this exclusive photo obtained by People magazine. The long-sleeved lace frock reminiscent of a much different type of royal. A nervous Kanye West, clad in Givenchy as well, waiting for his bride on an Italian hillside, standing in front of a 20-foot wall of flowers.
The tightly controlled wedding ceremony was a lavish affair, and images from the event would eventually make their way to most major publications. And ironically, despite telling the world that she didn't intend for any footage of the wedding to end up in Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kanye himself would even feature heavily in the season 9 finale of Keeping Up with the Kardashians that covered the wedding in its build-up, and after all the talk of the closely guarded event not being included in the show, Kim's assistant managed to miraculously capture some footage from above the venue with a handy cam. And apparently in the end, Kim loved that footage so darn much that she decided to include the money shot in the show after all as the very final shot of the season 9 finale. Funny how things work out, isn't it? In fact, the opening of that season 9 finale came with an on-screen disclaimer saying all footage had been captured by attendees of the wedding with their own personal phones, a claim which reviewers of the episode struggled to believe. But apparently even more unbelievable was Kanye's speech from the wedding. Story goes, Kanye held the mic for a whopping 20 minutes, giving a speech more akin to a presidential campaign than at a wedding, and ironically using his expensive and star-studded occasion to diss the media and rally for the rights of rich reality TV star celebrities. Apparently during the speech, Kanye was raging with anger over the fact that his image is used and sold and put on the cover of papers and spoofed in comedy shows like Saturday Night Live. I mean, just think about it, the irony of marrying the master of selling off your own image to the media, and now she's bundling up his own image along with hers selling it, and he's using his speech in the wedding marrying this chick to rally against this very practice. I mean, it beggars belief. And also, let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that he dissed Saturday Night Live in his own wedding speech for mocking him. But more on Saturday Night Live later in the video. In the speech, Kanye went on to describe the Kardashians as an industry unto themselves, calling Kim Kardashian the ideal celebrity and describing her as art. It's really interesting that the language that Kanye uses to describe his own wife seems a lot more fitting for property than it does a human being. He seems to treat his wife like a fine work of art. His wedding's almost like a Sotheby's auction where he's purchased ownership of her for an 8-figure sum. Rather than marrying a woman he loves, he often talks about her like a trophy that he's won, the ideal woman. And to me, at a certain point, it starts to feel like Kanye West's marriage of Kim Kardashian means more to him as a personal achievement than it does as a genuine relationship. You know, he won a VMA, he's won a Grammy, and now having reached the very top of the celebrity and artistic leaderboards, he secured himself the ultimate prize of all, a nice Kardashian to put on the mantelpiece. But let's be fair, this was a mutually beneficial merger for Kim too, because she really took home the prize in this marriage. Despite them both already being rich, Kanye's net worth was more than double hers at the point of marriage. But setting aside the money, Kanye's cultural cachet, clout, and creativity outstrips Kim's infinitely. The most gifted and talented musician and designer who's ever lived, in his opinion, now married to the poster child of famous for being famous. Kim is famously irritated by anybody asking her what she actually does, or what she's done to deserve her place at the top of the cultural food chain. Remember when Kanye said that Kim gave him everything that money couldn't buy, love and a family? Well, in kind of the same way, Kanye gave Kim everything she couldn't buy with money. The talent and creativity that she actually needed to take her brand and her businesses to the next level. And in her union with Kanye West, they combined to create a cultural celebrity powerhouse. The New York Times referred to their marriage as a historic blizzard of celebrity. In a way, a kind of social media royal family was emerging. Some people call them the hip-hop Kate and Will. Other people might call them the dollar store Jay-Z and Beyonce. But regardless of how you look at it, from here, at least for a while, they would go from strength to strength. Millions to billions. From an unplanned child while still married to another man, to the picture-perfect family of 6. And so, at least for a few years, they would be able to present themselves to the public as the perfect power couple who would live happily ever after. Following the wedding, Kanye was truly becoming a Kardashian. In fact, after splitting with Bruce/Caitlyn Jenner, Kardashian family mob boss, matriarch Kris Jenner, would even meet her new muse at one of Kanye's celebrity-studded parties. An August 2014 bash that newly married Kanye West would throw for Givenchy designer Riccardo Tisci is actually where Kris Jenner would meet her new partner Corey Gamble, with Kanye later rapping on his track All Mine that Corey Gamble essentially bagged the boss of the Kardashian family. And from there, if the newspapers were anything to go by, the Kardashian West family had much bigger, more exciting plans for expansion. In September 2014, Kim spoke publicly about her desire to have a second child, and it seemed that Kanye was getting into a healthy mindset as a newly minted member of the Kardashian family, telling Complex in a February 2015 interview that having a daughter and being surrounded by strong women made him respect females more than ever. Well, only some females, because that very same month, Kanye West actually went on The Breakfast Club for an interview where he insulted his ex Amber Rose, saying that he only used her for a stopgap when he really wanted to get with Kim.
If Kim had dated me when I first wanted to be with her, it wouldn't be an Amber Rose. You know what I'm saying? I had to take 30 showers before I got with Kim, you know?
Yes, he also said that Kim had made him take 30 showers after his relationship with Amber Rose. Perhaps what Kanye really meant to say was that he needed a shower after sleeping with Kim so Amber didn't smell her on him when he came home. Because after all, Kim probably still smelled like that perfume she sold to cash in on her last wedding. But from here, Kanye's newfound respect for women would drop even more the following month, when it hit the papers that he had allegedly verbally attacked Kim's fitness coach after she told Kim that losing more weight would be unrealistic, with Kanye apparently losing his temper and yelling at the woman, "If I tell you to lose weight between her toes, you are gonna figure out an effing toe weight." And I suppose Kim must have ended up losing that toe weight because in March 2015, exaggerated headlines hit the newspapers, suggesting that Kim and Kanye were making love a whopping 500 times a day. And finally, in May 2015, around the time of their first wedding anniversary, Kim would confirm to Glamour magazine that she was indeed expecting her second child with Kanye West. But while Kim was pregnant with Kanye's second child, it would appear that he had much bigger ideas than just his family. Because story goes, in August 2015, when Kanye was getting ready for an outing to the Video Music Awards to collect the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award, before the event he was having a shower at the home of his mother-in-law Kris Jenner. And it was during this very shower where legend has it, Kanye West spontaneously had the idea that he would announce that he is running for president president in that very acceptance speech. Apparently, upon thinking about this, Kanye literally broke down laughing for an indeterminate period of time. And despite the laughter, it seemed like Kanye had ultimately decided that this was genuinely a good idea. And at some point between that shower and the show itself, Kanye admitted to taking a big old hit of some very strong ganja before proceeding to make one of the worst decisions of his entire life.
Y'all might be thinking right now, I wonder, did he smoke something before he came out here? The answer is yes. I rolled up a little something. I knocked the edge off. I have decided in 2020 to run for president.
Funnily enough, the month after this shock revelation, Kim Kardashian would come out on The Ellen Show to tell the world that Kanye was indeed dead serious about his presidential ambitions. But Kanye's 2020 campaign was still 5 years away at this point, and for now, there would be much more pressing matters in his life. As on December the 5th, 2015, Kim Ye would welcome their newest child to the world, a baby boy they would name Saint West. But the world wouldn't see a photo of their second child until February, when in very Kardashian style, Kim would debut her new storyline, Baby, exclusively on her own app. $2.99 in the App Store if you want to catch a glimpse of the new kid. Hell, I'm surprised she didn't offer a meet and greet diaper change package for $69. Shit, how much have I got to pay for me to punt the kid a few hundred yards, Kim? In fact, it was even later reported that Kim and Kanye had clashed intensely about how they would stage their baby's very first photo shoot, with it being said that control freak Kanye had wanted to creative direct the entire shoot, even going through a whopping 3 photographers. Ye had even custom designed a whole bunch of outfits for the baby with thousands of photos of the child being taken before Kim decided to take the reins, snapping a few basic pics with her phone and slapping them up on her exclusive app. And as a result of this, Kanye was apparently left so annoyed that he wasn't able to choose which celebrity magazine the photos were published in, that in a fit of rage, he didn't even retweet the photos of his own child. What sort of twisted, sick, abusive father doesn't retweet the picture of their own son? But to be fair to Ye, he did have a lot on his mind around this period. Kanye was struggling to juggle his professional and personal life, and sadly, the cracks would soon begin to appear when he would go through one of his first public meltdowns, as fans and followers around the world would witness his mental health decline as it played out in real time, both in public and on Twitter. Kim's second pregnancy was not easy. In the build-up to the birth, Kim spoke on it being the worst experience of her life. Without going too deep into the grisly details, she had suffered 2 very uncomfortable pregnancies and births marred by complications. Furthermore, she'd also spoken at length about fertility issues when it came to conceiving her second child. Having baby number 2 had not been an easy road for Kim, but sadly, following the birth of her baby boy, in the months that followed, she would have more issues with her fully grown man-child of a husband. It was really after the second child that Kim and Kanye would begin experiencing regular problems in their relationship, as during the start of 2016, Kanye would be juggling his 2 new young children with high-profile fashion launches and an album release. The first song Kanye dropped after his previous album Yeezus and a long musical break was the Paul McCartney-assisted tribute to his first child, an emotional track titled Only One. This was a beautiful and moving song where Kanye would actually sing from the perspective of his deceased mother looking down on him, with Kanye having expressed sadness publicly about his mother never getting the opportunity to meet his daughter. And the release of this track was part of a teaser campaign leading up to the big release of Kanye's new album, The Life of Pablo. And that album debuted alongside Kanye's Yeezy Season 3 fashion line in a massive show at Madison Square Garden, which was the stuff of legends. But not everybody enjoyed the show. Following the event, Media Takeout released a scathing negative review that has since been deleted and scrubbed from the internet thoroughly, which branded the event as a shit show, dissing Kanye's collection and saying that celebrities looked embarrassed to be there. The Atlantic would describe the event in a slightly less harsh light, calling it beautiful yet haphazard, with elements of both chaos and boredom. For the record, many people did like the event and appreciate Kanye's album and fashion release, but as always, Kanye was unable to focus on the positive and instead completely fixated on the negative, taking to Twitter, going on an angry tirade against Media Takeout for dissing his launch. He would say that the staff at Media Takeout probably are wearing fake Yeezys right now, amongst a number of other things. It seemed from this outburst that the pressure that Kanye had been under in the lead up to this event had really gotten to him. In fact, only days before his album and fashion line would release, he had been on a bizarre and in-depth Twitter rant, which was probably cause for concern for his whole family. He would diss rival shoe brand Puma, speaking on sister-in-law Kylie Jenner's behalf behalf, saying that she was going to give back all of the money from her deal, apparently without telling her. He would come out in support of disgraced pudding pusher Bill Cosby, and it was clear from his very tweets during this time that the pressure of his big upcoming event was truly getting to him. Considering just how stressed out he was about this event, and the fact that the reviews ended up not being wholly positive, clearly had a massive negative effect on Kanye's mindset. And for years to come, Kanye would constantly compare the negative reaction to this event to when legendary basketball player LeBron James switched teams to Miami, which prompted fans to burn his jersey and hate on him. But the thing is, Kanye would continue to catch more and more hate in the media following the big reveal of his Life of Pablo album. People were particularly upset about lyrics on the track Famous, where Kanye claimed to have made Taylor Swift famous, with an early demo of that track leaking with lyrics where Kanye even suggested that Taylor Swift had owed him sex. I guess all that newfound respect for women that Kanye had after hanging out with the Kardashians for so long wore off around the 2-year mark. There were also lyrics on the Life of Pablo album that seemed to reference a shocking ordeal that Kanye had been through, with it being rumored that sometime before this album's release, Kanye West had been extorted and made to pay a whopping $250,000 by a family member who had threatened to release a stolen sex tape of his. Story goes, Kanye had given an old laptop to a relative of his as a gift, with the laptop getting passed around the family before eventually somebody found a file on it, an apparent video clip of Kanye himself having sex. Story goes that family member threatened to release the video publicly, with Kanye paying $250,000 to keep the whole matter private. It was even reported that after payment, that relative was subjected to a lie detector test to give Kanye peace of mind that no further copies of the video existed. And it was said that Kanye struggled to trust anybody in his inner circle following this incident. Ye would rap about this ordeal on the tracks Real Friends on the Life of Pablo album, where he says, "I had a cousin that stole my laptop that I was smashing bitches on. I paid that guy $250,000 just to get it from him." The Life of Pablo album also contained cringeworthy references to Kim Kardashian's previous relationship and home movie with Ray J, with Kanye rapping that he knows that there's corny men she wishes she could unswallow. I feel gross even reading that, and I've never even met Ray J. I've heard he makes good headphones. In fact, throughout the entire album, Kanye seemed Ray J obsessed. Rapping on the track Highlights, "I bet me and Ray J would be friends if we ain't love the same bitch. Yeah, he might have hit it first. Only problem is I'm rich." This was a reference to the song Hit It First, which Ray J had released back in April 2013, whilst Kim was still desperately trying to get out of her marriage to Kris Humphries so that she was free to marry Kanye. I mean, the fact that Kanye references Kim and Ray J so much on the album shows just how much Ray J and his I Hit It First song must have got under Kanye's skin. And it's really no surprise considering just how much of a savage jab Hit It First was at Kim and Kanye. First off, the song's cover art was a picture of Kim Kardashian in a bikini, pixelated, in the same style as the cover art of Kanye's beautiful Twisted Fantasy album. Ray J also managed to secure a Kim Kardashian lookalike to appear in the music video, with the video itself even ending with a clip of Ray J laying out on a bed, reacting to news footage of Kim walking out of the courthouse during her previous divorce proceedings. But much more devastating than the visuals were the lyrics of Hit It First. Ray J says, "She might move on to rappers and ball players, but we all know I hit it first." He also drops savage bars flipping the name of their future firstborn, saying, "I had her head going north and her ass going south, but now baby chose to go west." He also says, "I gave her that really bomb sex. No matter where she goes or who she knows, she still belongs in my bed." He even goes as far as to say, "And if you were to come back to me, girl, we'll make another movie." And as the final nail in the coffin, Ray J ends the song with an outro, essentially taking full credit for Kim's fame, saying, "I put her on, I put that girl on." Now it seems to me that Kanye must have been absolutely steaming over these lyrics for around 3 years, with his Life of Pablo album in 2016 being his big opportunity to get some lyrical get back. But the sad truth is, Kanye's lyrical outbursts about Kim's past, coming 9 whole years after her sex tape released, and 3 whole years after Ray J released I Hit It First, show just how sensitive and insecure Kanye was about Kim's murky come-up and the mockery that he had been subjected to publicly as a result. And in the months that followed, it would seem that Kanye's jealousy would continue to get the better of him. In May, headlines broke that Kanye had had a steaming row towel, and fired a bodyguard who had apparently tried to speak to Kim at work, with a report claiming that Kanye had spotted the bodyguard outside Kim's hotel room, delivering a message from downstairs about transport when Kanye completely lost it, with a later interview with that bodyguard revealing another incident had taken place in February when it was claimed that Kanye was upset that the bodyguard had gotten too close to Kim during Fashion Week. I mean, how are you going to guard the body without getting close to the body? And as the year went on, there would be more and more reasons for Kanye's jealousy to get the better of him. In August 2016, Kanye's former collaborator on that track Wouldn't Get Far, the 2006 song about women using men for clout, The Game would release his new song Source, where he claimed to have had sex with 3 Kardashian women. However, the Kardashians would seemingly refute this claim, with reports surfacing in TMZ suggesting that The Game had only bedded 1 Kardashian lady. And maybe you can guess which one. Now, for the record, that same article suggested that The Game had actually reached out to Kanye to give him a heads up about the controversial lyric, with Kanye not taking issue. However, The Game would go on to allude to sleeping with Kardashian women yet further in a Wendy Williams interview, sidestepping the question of whether or not he hit it first, going on to say how much he respects Kim and Kanye's relationship.
Kanye is a really good friend of mine, and they got really, really beautiful kids, and I don't want to disrespect their family.
Yeah, Lamar's a really good friend of yours, too.
Respect or not, considering just how riled up Kanye was about Ray J hitting it first, I've got no doubt that The Game's brags about bedding Kardashian women was causing Kanye yet further mental anguish. But in the months that followed, Kanye would have other things to worry about. After a tumultuous album rollout, Kanye was set to take his Life of Pablo album on tour with the St. Pablo Tour. The tour was an exciting prospect with a first-of-its-kind floating stage that was set to see Kanye lording it up over the NPCs in the audience below him. The St. Pablo Tour kicked off in Indianapolis at the end of August to positive reviews. And by September 2016, Kanye had secured a big W when it emerged that he had broken the Pope's record for merchandise sales after moving a whopping $780,000 worth of merch in one night alone. Jesus quite literally jumped over Jesus. But if you ask me, the St. Pablo Tour merch desk was a little bit creepy, with Kanye cashing in on commemorative t-shirts, memorializing both his mother and Kim's father, Rob Kardashian. But regardless of the creepy merch, it's safe to say that Kanye was having a whale of a time on tour, with him apparently putting in world-class performances, not just on the stage. As it would later emerge that Kanye allegedly had been cheating on Kim relentlessly with groupies during this 2016 tour, with Kanye later referencing this infidelity-ridden period of his life on the song Hurricane, where he said that he was still playing with new chicks after having 2 kids. But even more explosive than these lyrics was a Daily Mail article which claimed that on this tour Kanye would have manic rants backstage, recounting sex sessions with groupies in so much detail that his team was left stunned, unable to believe what they were hearing, with reports that Kanye would use graphic language to describe his intense lovemaking sessions in great detail in front of everybody, as those around him that would observe this behavior begun to worry that he was in the midst of a manic episode. Now, this already sounds like a lot for Kim to have to put up with, but sadly from here things would get much worse for the Kardashian West family, with the Life of Pablo tour originally intended to run from August 25th to December 31st. Sadly, before the tour would conclude a success, tragedy would strike, jeopardizing not just Kim's marriage, but also her life. In October 2016, Kim Kardashian was staying at her Paris apartment after arriving in the city to attend Fashion Week. Kim's visit to Paris was already tense, as only days before this, she had been targeted on the streets by a prankster who tried to run up on her before getting brutalized by her security in the process.
Welcome to Paris again.
And in the days that followed, some noticed a Fiat 500 suspiciously following her every move and desperately trying to cut in front of paparazzi to tail her through the city. And eventually, Kim's trip would turn very dark on October the 3rd at 3 a.m. when masked gunmen dressed as police would burst into her apartment, tying her up and robbing her of jewels allegedly worth millions of dollars.
The thieves came into the main entrance of the building and walked down this corridor and convinced the concierge to come and open up the doors and let them in.
Previous reports claim the thieves had targeted Kim because of her non-stop activity on social media, showing her ring.
He was shaking her, shaking her with a gun. He was asking for money.
Where is money?
Yeah.
Where is money? So she offered them her ring. They didn't seem to know it was worth $4.5 million. The concierge demonstrated on a Kim Kardashian lookalike how one of the robbers bound her with duct tape, first her wrists, then her feet, and taped her mouth shut. They laid her on the bed. She was wearing a hotel bathrobe and nothing else. Then more terror as a robber lifted her off the bed.
They take her into the bathroom?
Yes. And he put her just beside the bath.
A truly terrifying ordeal, which I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. And apparently, hearing of the news in the middle of a concert, Kanye would abruptly end his performance, running off stage and rushing to be at Kim's side.
I'm sorry, there's a family emergency. I have to stop the show.
A troubled Kanye would be seen at Kim's side as she fled Paris, returning to the United States, notably missing her wedding and engagement rings. Following this horrific ordeal, Kim's security was stepped up, with an army of goons being spotted outside where she was staying like she was freaking Kim Jong-un. And despite surviving the ordeal, perhaps a few $1 million in jewels lighter, but with her life intact, the robbery would leave a lasting trauma on Kim. She would later speak openly about this trauma, describing herself as a completely different person since experiencing that attack, recounting her experience of that ordeal in several different media outlets, including an interview on David Letterman's Netflix talk show, and of course her own show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And whilst Kim had bared the most painful of experiences that day, naturally Kanye would also be affected by the trauma secondhand, with reports later surfacing that he was trying to employ counter-terror specialists to look out for Kim following the ordeal, even going as far as to say during an appearance on Keeping Up with the Kardashians that if anything had happened to Kim, that he would not rest until they were all dead.
If anything had really happened to you, like, I wouldn't have stopped until they was dead.
That's the GD coming out of him right there. Anyway, in the weeks that had followed the Kim Kardashian robbery, Kanye would be having long, emotional, on-stage outbursts, leaving fans worried about the state of his mental health. In October, at a show in Seattle, he dissed Jay-Z for not being more supportive of his family following the robbery.
You call me after the robbery, you say how you feeling. You want to know how I'm feeling? Come by the house. Bring the kids by the house.
Reports would also come out around this time suggesting that Jay-Z was sick of Kanye's erratic behavior and had even prevented their children from socializing with each other. Following that, at a November 17th show in San Jose, Kanye would catch headlines after a 25-minute rant about Donald Trump, who had just won the 2016 election days before, challenging fans who had booed his support for Trump's victory, telling them that they had been brainwashed by the internet, and reaffirming his own interest in a 2020 presidential bid. All that coming despite the fact that Kanye himself didn't even vote.
This crowd right here, I want to ask, was y'all Trump or Hillary? Trump won, right? And y'all telling me, is that one Trump person that came to the Kanye West show? Y'all lying! Y'all lying! The people that voted for either side still come to this show. I'm just saying that I know it's people here at my show that love Kanye West that also voted for Trump. Yes, sir. There might be Hillary supporters who are louder. There's people who vote for either side that still come together and love music. The dumbest thing about politics is this idea of creating a separation. No one side or the other side is all bad. It's not just the echoing on the internet that made everyone believe, including Hillary, that she was going to win. It's not just that. Don't be believing everything you read and hear and see and gets translated to you by the fucking internet. The celebrities are the influencers of our now. Just look at the president. He wasn't even in politics, and he won. In 2020, I seriously doubt I would have had any experience in politics either. I did not vote. Oh no, this St. Pablo ticket sales is going down now. Well, Ye, how you gonna expect people to vote for you if you didn't even vote? I'm concerned not about the idea of being president or the actual job of it. I'm concerned about putting out a concept of how to do the job in a new way. And if no one will do it in that way, I will take position in 2020 and do it myself.
Sure, there were nuggets of truth in Kanye's rant, but the fact that this was the state of his live shows at this point was very concerning. And sadly, that trend would only continue. As on November the 19th at a show in Sacramento, notably only 8 days after the 9-year anniversary of his mother's death, Kanye would have another epic extended rant on stage, taking aim at numerous people and organizations. Kicking things off by telling the crowd that they were mad they lost the election, telling them once again that the news and technology media had lied to them. He would say that Obama failed at making America great because he couldn't be himself or yell strange noises. And after this, seemingly referencing that rift that had emerged between him and Jay-Z, Kanye begged Jay-Z not to send killers to hurt him. Kanye would end the show by ranting about how the press would mock him for his rant before dropping the mic and walking straight off stage. But even after leaving the stage, Kanye wasn't done ranting, and he would continue his strange behavior online in the days that followed, spending the next few nights spam posting a whopping 99 images to his Instagram, low quality images all without captions, mainly depicting items from old Maison Margiela lookbooks. This would leave fans and blogs completely perplexed at Kanye's current state of mind. And a day after abandoning his show and walking off stage, he had intended to do a makeup show in Los Angeles, with that show being cancelled just hours before Kanye was set to touch the stage. And then, the following day, it was revealed that the remainder of the St. Pablo tour would be cancelled completely without explanation. Clearly, Kanye was under a lot of mental strain at this time. But sadly, things would get much worse later in the day, as Ye would continue spiraling out of control and eventually finding himself in handcuffs in a psychiatric facility against his will. At around 1:20 p.m. on November the 21st, only hours after he cancelled the remainder of his St. Pablo tour, reportedly Kanye was at the home of his personal trainer when he began acting erratically, prompting his personal doctor to phone 911. Kanye was allegedly screaming about people trying to kill him and having hallucinations during what was described as a psychotic break. According to reports, Kanye physically attacked a staff member at the property, leading Kanye's personal doctor to place him on a 5150 hold, allowing a doctor to forcibly admit a patient with a mental disorder to hospital, with the doctor describing Kanye's condition as temporary psychosis due to sleep deprivation and dehydration. And segments of that 911 call were even later leaked to TMZ.
Yeah, I'm actually one of his doctors. I'm just calling for my cell phone. A request if we can have some police backup because I don't think the paramedics,
Are you there now with them? So let me connect this with the police. If you can bring both,
yeah, because I think he definitely is going to need to be hospitalized. So I wouldn't just do the police by itself. I think he needs to.
Okay, what is the medical condition he's having, sir?
Weapons involved or in the area? No other weapons. No. And you're his doctor or therapist? Yeah, correct, doctor. So if you can just keep an eye on him, just to try to obviously he's here with us. Don't let him get any weapons or anything like that. If anything changes, if he does become physically combative between now and when the police and/or paramedics get their calls back immediately at 911. Will do. Thank you so much.
The fire department dispatchers categorized this call as a psychiatric emergency, and upon their arrival, Kanye even tried to resist paramedics, leading to him ultimately being restrained in handcuffs, being taken to hospital in a fire truck after an hour of struggling. Kim was later pictured crying on the phone after hearing the news, with this moment broadcast exclusively on her reality show, of course. Kim would immediately cancel her plan to appear at the New York City gala, the Angels Ball, and was spotted flying home to be at Kanye's side, apparently even leaving Kris Jenner furious, as this gala was meant to be Kim's first public appearance since being robbed. But she did the right thing, dropped her plans and rushed to be at Kanye's side, just as Kanye had done for her after she was robbed. Now, there was a lot said about what could have possibly triggered Kanye's mental episode. Of course, he was under a lot of pressure with his big tour, Kim had just been robbed the month before, and every single move and statement that he made was being scrutinized massively by the media. Combine that with the fact that he'd apparently just been extorted by his own family over a leaked sex tape. With all that on your plate, I don't think anybody would be able to keep it together. But as time went on, it would be revealed that there was even more to the story. Kanye would later speak openly in a TMZ live interview, saying that he was addicted to opioids during this period, apparently forming this habit after undergoing liposuction that he had carried out due to insecurity about his own weight. Apparently, Kanye's reasoning for the liposuction surgery was the result of his brother-in-law Rob Kardashian being mocked in the media for being fat, prompting him to flee his sister Kim's wedding and avoid further mockery. And apparently, after witnessing that, Kanye did not want to be mocked for being fat the same way. Kanye would go on to say that he got hooked on opioids after the surgery, and unfortunately taking that bad habit on tour with him. Kanye would even reveal that the same person who got him weed on tour would get him opioids, and that over time, rumors of his drug habit was beginning to spread amongst his inner team. But apparently in response to a comment by a member of his team saying that the opioids would kill his genius, Kanye stopped taking them just 2 days before that psychotic break where he was hospitalized. Following the breakdown, Kanye would spend an entire 9 days in the hospital, with it even being reported that numerous members of staff at the facility where he was being treated were fired for trying to improperly access his medical history. Eventually, Kanye would recover and be free to go, apparently being heavily medicated and leaving the hospital with a regime of 7 pills to take every day. So, Kanye had returned home with Kim and the kids and the personal doctor who had called 911 on the day of his breakdown. And initially, things seemed to be good in the West Kardashian household. It was reported that they had had celebration for Kanye's return and Saint's first birthday, as well as paparazzi spotting an enormous Christmas tree being delivered to their Bel Air mansion. However, other conflicting reports would circulate around this time, suggesting that the couple was struggling to keep it together, with more reports later emerging suggesting that they were headed for a full-blown divorce. With media initially reporting that Kanye had intended to take the remainder of the year off, before new reports came out suggesting that amid the potential collapse of his marriage, Kanye had been channeling his emotions directly back into his music. At this point, it wasn't entirely clear whether or not the initial rumors of Kim and Kanye's breakup were to be trusted. But if there's one thing that we know for sure that Kim cannot stand, it's that when Kanye gets political. And on the 13th of December 2016, only 2 weeks after being released from a psychiatric facility, a vulnerable Kanye West would meet President Donald Trump in person at Trump Towers for a private conversation and a public photo op.
Kanye, what did you guys discuss in your meeting today?
Just friends, and he's a good man. Doing well. Long time. We've been friends for a long time. Life. We discussed it.
Money in 2020. Do you think that's something you still want to do in light of this meeting? Kanye, are you considering performing at the inauguration this year? Kanye, no comment about your meeting with the president-elect. This is the president-elect of the United States. Nothing to say?
I just want to take a picture right now.
And you take care of yourself. I'll see you soon. All right?
Kanye later elaborated on the content of their private meeting, saying that they discussed multicultural issues, as well as bullying, supporting teachers, school curriculums, and the violence in Chicago. He said he felt it's important to speak directly to the president to bring about change, rounding it all off with a #2020 tweet, once again foreshadowing a potential future run for the presidency himself. It was later reported that Kim was allegedly mortified by this meeting and had apparently even tried to get Kanye to pull out, with further reports coming out that apparently suggested that after the meeting, Kim and Kanye had been receiving therapy separately in a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage. But as December 2016 went on, Kim would be seen multiple times in public without her wedding ring, with Kanye missing an annual Kardashian family party. Reports would later emerge suggesting that Kanye was ready to set aside his political ambitions to keep his family together. And strangely from here, despite the supposed impending divorce of Kim and Kanye, they would seemingly work their differences out and continue having children. Entering the new year of 2017, and it would seem like Kim and Kanye had overcome their differences. He was seen copping a handful of plastic, squeezing her booty in photos posted on her website in January, but it's possible that these pictures weren't entirely up to date. And in the months that followed, fans would be kept guessing, as Kim and Kanye kept a fairly low profile in the media, with Kanye himself not even being present at his own 2017 Yeezy fashion show, and in May it would emerge that Kanye was planning to withdraw from public life even further. After being spotted out solo, the media would continue to report that his marriage was in trouble, and in response, Kanye would delete both of his Instagram and Twitter accounts, reportedly fleeing Hollywood for a secluded life in Wyoming for the very first time in his career. Fortunately, Kim and Kanye would reunite 2 months later in July, being pictured in a family photo for a 4th of July celebration, alongside 2 Chainz and his kids of all people. Then, at the end of July 2017, reports would emerge that Kim was planning to have her 3rd child, this time with a surrogate in order to avoid the complications that she had suffered from her 1st and 2nd births, with the news reporting that Kim and Kanye had apparently paid $45,000 to an African-American mother of 2 in a stable marriage to play the role of surrogate. But despite the big family news, Kanye would continue to remain out of the limelight for the rest of 2017, spending time in the mountains of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, with a mixture of collaborators piecing together his next, as yet untitled album. But soon the wait would be over, and on the 16th of January 2018, reports emerged that Kim and Kanye's 3rd child had arrived, with the child being named Chicago, or Shy for short, a reference to Kanye's beloved hometown. Kim would announce the name of her new child with an image on Twitter, of course hyperlinked to the site of her cosmetics brand, because what's even the point of paying $45 grand for someone else to give birth to your child if you can't use the occasion to move a bit of product? And so the West Kardashian household, apparently only a year before this on the brink of a breakup, welcomed its newest member, and at least for the time being, looked like it was healing and heading towards a more positive future. However, after spending pretty much the entirety of 2017 in hiding, in 2018, Kanye would emerge from the shadows, living a public life once again, and making big, bold plans for the future, with little thought of the implications to his loved ones. After doing everybody a favor and taking the whole of 2017 off, in 2018, Kanye would be back on social media, campaigning to make his wife uncomfortable again. At the end of January, he attempted to clone Kim Kardashian, metaphorically speaking, by staging his Yeezy Season 6 fashion show using nothing but Kim Kardashian lookalikes as models. This included a cavalcade of sizzling Kim Kardashians, including notably the Kim clone who Kim herself ironically cloned her whole career from in the first place, Paris Hilton, who did her best Kim impression as part of Kanye's show, which Kim posted on her own Instagram along with the caption, "Forever the OG." OG in this case standing for Original Gobbler. A bit strange, but kinda cool. However, following that, on Valentine's Day 2018, in a bizarre attempt to, I assume, show his affection for Kim, after returning to Instagram, Kanye spends a whopping 7 hours posting nothing but uncaptioned pictures of famous power couples, before promptly deleting his Instagram once again. It was unclear what state their relationship was in at this point, but considering one of the last things Kanye did before his breakdown was post 100 Margiela fashion pictures to his IG, perhaps this latest flurry of uploads was cause for concern. And if you're playing Kanye Breakdown Bingo, get ready to scratch another item off your cards, as in April, Kanye would return to Twitter once again to praise his favorite president Donald Trump once more, tweeting his adoration of Trump despite not agreeing on everything, saying bizarrely that they both share dragon energy. You don't have to agree with Trump, but the mob can't make me not love him. We are both dragon energy. He is my brother. I love everyone. I don't agree with everything anyone does. That's what makes us individuals, and we have the right to independent thought. A confused Donald Trump would even respond to this tweet saying, "Thank you, Kanye. Very cool." That same day, Kanye posts a picture with record executive Lyle Cohen wearing a red Make America Great Again or MAGA hat, and Kanye would continue to be spotted in his MAGA hat by paparazzi in the days that followed. These politically charged antics would grab headlines. However, Kanye would follow up the negative media attention with actual music too. He'd be seen doing a quick freestyle whilst wearing the MAGA hat for TMZ, and dropping a throwaway track with Atlanta trap legend T.I. at the end of April, a song called Ye versus the People, which would see Kanye rapping his political views in a back and forth lyrical debate with T.I., responding to his points on the track. Over the course of the song, Kanye would say that Trump's election proved that he could be president too, as well as suggesting that he had been wearing the MAGA hat to try and give Trump's movement a new, more positive direction. T.I. would respond to Kanye's Trump support on the song with a great point, saying, "What you willing to lose for the point to be proved? This shit is stubborn, selfish, bullheaded, even for you." And perhaps he didn't realize just how prophetic these bars would be. But in this one lyric, T.I. perfectly predicted what would happen to Kanye as the story went on, suggesting that Kanye's obsession with Donald Trump and the presidency might indeed end up costing him everything he loves. Kanye would drop another lyric in the song where he likened his attempts to bridge the gap between political opinions in America to a gang truce attempting to bring the rival Bloods and Crips together. But ironically, in spite of his well-intentioned bars, Kanye's Trump-supporting actions had pissed off the Bloods and Crips specifically. And in direct response to his public support for Trump, LA rapper Daz Dillinger came out calling specifically for the LA Crips to physically attack Kanye.
Yo, national alert. All the Crips out there, y'all Kanye up. You see that motherfucker? His ass up on GP. It's Crip shit, nigga. We're gonna show you how we come together and ride on your motherfucking ass. Cause we got a Crip alert for Kanye. You don't speak on Crip guys, nigga. We the Crip guys, nigga.
And in spite of this citywide Crip alert, from here Kanye would continue to talk a whole lot of offensive crud. On May the 1st, 2018, Kanye drops into TMZ for a live interview to elaborate on his Trump support, offending a lot more people in the process. Most notably saying that he believed that slavery was a choice. For the record, he did walk back these comments in a tweet afterwards, saying, "To make myself clear, of course I know that slaves did not get shackled and put on a boat by free will. My point is for us to have stayed in that position, even though the numbers were on our side, means that we were mentally enslaved. The reason why I brought up the 400 years point is because we can't be mentally imprisoned for another 400 years. We need free thought now. Even the statement was an example of free thought. It was just an idea. That was the gaffe that caught the most headlines from this TMZ interview, but there was a whole lot more to it. During the appearance, Kanye would suggest that the only reason that he met Trump at the end of 2016 was because he was still strung out on drugs from his previous hospital visit, and it's following this part of the interview that Kanye's rant begins to get extremely erratic, as he begins to look as if he is having another episode live on TMZ, turning away from the interviewers and yelling at the entire TMZ office. And as you already saw earlier on, this is the part of the interview where Kanye would admit to becoming addicted to opioids following his liposuction surgery, which contributed to his 2016 breakdown and tour cancellation. Now, this statement was potentially very damaging to Kanye, as since that breakdown and tour cancellation, he had been battling with his insurance company, with this revelation of an opioid addiction potentially even damaging his case and leading to the cancellation not being covered by his policy. But things would only get worse from here, with Ye eventually telling the entire TMZ office that he had not been taking all of the meds that he was given after leaving the hospital, a statement which was met by complete silence. This was a very erratic interview and definitely captured Kanye at a low point, to say the least. He continues to argue with the entire TMZ office directly about a bunch of issues, including Scientology, and it's during this out-of-control rant when TMZ staff member Van Lathan bravely confronted Kanye mid-rant, disagreeing with his points and saying that he essentially stands for nothing, with the tense confrontation ending with a whimper as a flustered Kanye, unable to adequately respond to any of Van's points, insists on giving him a hug rather than a coherent response. Kanye's TMZ meltdown was the stuff of legends. And very weirdly, the same day that interview was going viral, Kanye drops another interview with Charlamagne of The Breakfast Club, filmed inside his creepy minimalist home. In this interview, Kanye seems a completely different person, as we see a stoic Ye calmly giving reasoning behind his recent behavior. Charlamagne asked him about his breakdown, which he called a breakthrough.
Breakdown, or I like to say the breakthrough.
With Kanye going on to say that fear, stress, and being controlled and manipulated caused his breakthrough, with no mention of opioids. Now, I can't show you much of this interview for copyright reasons, but what I will say is that it is quite literally the polar opposite of his TMZ appearance that came out the same day. I'm not sure if this was by design, with these contrasting interviews being a true expression of Ye's bipolar suffering personality, or simply the natural result of somebody suffering this condition doing back-to-back interviews in completely different states, giving wildly different answers to the very same questions. Either which way, Kanye's bipolar diagnosis was forming a massive part of his life at this point, and his newly diagnosed condition would quite literally be the centerpiece of his next album, Ye, which released exactly a month after these contrasting interviews were released. The album sported a cover depicting the peaks of Wyoming and text saying, "I hate being bipolar, it's awesome," with Kim pointing out that Kanye actually shot the cover art on his iPhone on the way to the album's listening party. Now, the album itself had a lot of weird and alarming references to Kim. In fact, the opening track titled "I Thought About Killing You" contains lyrics where Kanye says just that. "Today I seriously thought about killing you. I contemplated premeditated murder. And I think about killing myself, and I love myself way more than I love you. You'd only care enough to kill somebody you love. The most beautiful thoughts are always besides the darkest." Now, it seems the overall vibe of this song is Kanye's bipolar causing him to have conflicting and destructive thoughts. In this case, suicidal thoughts, as he says, "I thought about killing myself and I love myself way more than I love you." And honestly, my first thought when I heard this song was, wait, is he talking about killing Kim? I got immediate O.J. Simpson vibes. I'm not gonna lie, it's messed up. In fact, that chilling opening lyric of this album made me think a lot about Eminem's song about killing his ex-wife, the painfully ironically titled track Kim. But thankfully, Kanye would use more of this short 7-track album to elaborate on his feelings towards his wife, revealing the inner turmoils that him and Kim had been facing during his time out of the limelight. On the track All Mine, Kanye seems to reference his earlier infidelity, mentioning several examples of famous celebrities caught cheating, as well as admitting that he wastes time on basic girls. It's hard not to hear this song and think that Kanye is subliminally discussing his own desires and potentially past actions when it comes to infidelity. The track Wouldn't Leave is dedicated to his long-suffering wife Kim, and sees Kanye opening up with gratitude about Kim ultimately sticking with him through all of their struggles. Kanye raps in the first verse about saying that slavery was a choice on TMZ, suggesting that Kim had called him screaming that they were going to lose everything, with Ye admitting that he had told her that she could leave him then, but she refused to do it. With Kanye ending the track ultimately praising Kim and all the women who stick by their man through the worst of times and decisions. And Kim would stick by Kanye's side quite literally, being there right next to him through the tears at an emotional listening party where the song and album was played in full on location at Jackson Hole in Wyoming. After this, on the album comes the track No Mistakes, where Kanye declares that he still loves Kim. And the album ends with the moving track Violent Crimes, where Kanye opens up about how having daughters can change a man and make them show more respect to women, unless they're Amber Rose. Ultimately, Kanye's Ye album, while not being the best received project in his catalogue, represented a massive milestone in his personal life. He came back from the brink after his meltdown, and while it seemed to take him the entirety of 2017 to recover amid his bipolar diagnosis and a mountain of personal battles to overcome, Ye ultimately did it and came back, showing the world that his creativity and work ethic was still intact. And if the lyrics of the project was anything to go by, he'd learned his lessons, was repentant for his mistakes, and had gained some self-awareness. But sadly, despite all of the personal progress and introspection, in the months that followed, Ye would continue to court controversy and end up repeating some of the same mistakes that had driven his fans and family away from him. Now, I want to call out a little bit of hypocrisy before we go any further, because despite Kim Kardashian apparently being livid with Kanye West's support of Trump, in May 2018, she would pull a Kanye herself, joining Donald Trump for an in-person meeting where she asked him to pardon Alice Marie Johnson, a 63-year-old grandmother serving life in prison for a first-time drug offense.
7 months ago, I saw a story on Twitter, and it was about a great-grandmother that just tugged at my heart.
In 1997, Alice was sentenced to life in prison without parole for her role in a drug trafficking operation in the Memphis area. It was a first-time nonviolent offense. That came after Alice faced tough moments in her life, including, she says, divorce, job loss, and the death of her youngest son.
Kim and Trump would pose together for a photo op in the Oval Office following her attendance of a summit on prison reform. And she would go on to praise Trump for listening to her pleas for Alice Marie's freedom.
I think that, he really spent the time to listen to our case that we were making for Alice. He really understood, and I am very hopeful that this will, turn out really positively, I hope.
Only a few weeks later, Trump would commute her sentence and eventually give a full pardon, freeing Alice Marie Johnson from prison.
Caught in what was obviously one of the great joyful moments of her life, Alice Marie Johnson rushing into the arms of loved ones freed yesterday after 21 years in federal prison, sentenced to life on drug charges. Kardashian West lobbied the president on Ms. Johnson's behalf, and yesterday he commuted her sentence, citing her good behavior and rehabilitation.
Did you know the name Kim Kardashian?
I didn't. I did not know her name. I didn't know Kim. As soon as I found out who she was, I started getting every magazine I could find. I started reading everything that I could about her. And everyone was amazed, and I was amazed too.
This was an amazing achievement, and frankly it's the least that Kim could do after her pops got OJ off. But for all the good it did, it would be a strange example where Kim's association with Donald Trump would be seen as positive. Meanwhile, if Kanye expressed the slightest support for Donald Trump, he would seem to be admonished by family and friends alike and accused of having a breakdown. This is something that even Kim alluded to in a CNN interview on the topic.
You've endorsed him in a way, you've kind of given him legitimacy. You might be in a campaign video, he used you.
I think Kanye's already given him legitimacy, so I don't, in that way. So I was working on this before, so I don't think I would be used.
But this hypocrisy didn't stop Kanye pursuing his interest in politics too, but not before settling a few scores in the music industry first. Once the dust settled on Kanye's Ye project, he was back online and back on smoke. Now, for this video, I'm specifically avoiding any mention of Kanye West's long-running feud with current king of pop rap, Drake. Partly because I've already done a separate extended video breaking down all the details of their feud, and partly because this video is long enough as it is. But at a certain point, Kanye's issues with Drake played a small and embarrassing role in the ongoing friction between Kanye and his own wife Kim. Because in June 2018, Drake drops his hit song In My Feelings, sporting a chorus with the lyrics, "Kiki, do you love me?" Now the story goes, the Kiki that Drake is talking about is actually another woman from his past completely unrelated to Kanye or Kim. But at a certain point, fans and foes alike begin to suggest that the Kiki that Drake is talking about on the track is actually Kim Kardashian. And perhaps in the midst of their competitive musical rivalry, Drake was alluding to have had some sort of affair with Kanye's wife Kim. It's never been revealed whether or not there's really any truth to this. But what we do know is that the rumor certainly got underneath Kanye's skin, with Ye taking to Instagram in September with a scathing rant pointed at Drake himself.
Now the next thing is with Drake, the fact that it's people making rumors or thinking that you fuck my wife and you're not saying nothing and you carrying it like that don't sit well with my spirit. If I had a girlfriend from Chicago, her name was Reunited, and then you was married to Rihanna, I wouldn't make no song called Riri. So when you're like, oh, I don't know where it come from, you too smart for that, bro. You know where that come from. Don't make no record with nothing that could be confused. But when you played that record for me in the studio that said, yo, we got some Kylies, we got some Kendalls, I did tell you not to do that. So period, it's like, don't speak on nobody from my family, nothing that could be even mentioned with my wife. Period. We don't have to talk again.
Clearly, Kanye had a lot of insecurities about his relationship around this time. And it wasn't just Drake getting on his nerves either. As rapper, TV host, and comedian of Wyoming Out fame, Nick Cannon had also dated Kim Kardashian back around 2006 and 7. And in September 2018, Nick Cannon actually spoke to DJ Vlad in an interview about Kim's surgeries, explaining that when they were together, Nick had told Kim that she didn't need any surgery and she was great the way she was.
And I remember, like, she didn't like her nose, and I'm like, yo, you're beautiful. It's unfortunate, man, like, because to me that's all insecurity and not really loving yourself for who you are.
And so following this, during that same rant where Kanye went at Drake over the lyrics from In My Feelings, Kanye would address Nick Cannon's comments too.
First of all, I want to address Nick Cannon. Like, I understand that you used to date my wife, but you know, you get in an interview, don't mention my wife. If someone brings my wife up, you say, hey, I respect that man, I'm not speaking on that. Don't be making no suggestions like nobody fuck my wife.
Nick Cannon would respond after getting off a plane, welcoming Kanye back from the sunken place, and inviting him to talk face to face on his show Wyoming Out.
First off, let me say, welcome back, Ye, from the sunken place. It's a beautiful thing. Glad you back with us, brother. Nothing but love and respect for you. You know, I always had that. But I honestly gotta say this, my dude. I've never said anything disrespectful or harmful to your, in my opinion, to your marriage or your union. I salute it, keep it going. But you're not gonna tell me what I can and what I can't say. I'm a solid individual. Somebody asks me a question, I'm gonna answer it to the best of my ability. I'm gonna give my opinion. You're more than welcome. Let's talk about it, man. You come on the show that it's all love, man. Like I said, I ain't say nothing disrespectful, but we can have a good time with this. You know what I'm saying?
With Nick Cannon later saying in an interview with Big Boy that he believed that Kanye was just dissing him for attention.
He's a master at manipulating the media. It's Yeezy promotion, you know what I mean?
Once again, it all begun to appear as if Kanye's online behavior was getting slightly alarming. And soon enough, we would see Kanye doing that one thing that everybody had feared would happen again, as Kanye would dust off his red MAGA hat, deciding that it was again time to get political, much to the disappointment of fans and family alike. With Kanye posting up on Twitter wearing the MAGA hat along with a caption that read, "This represents good and America becoming whole again. We will no longer outsource to other countries. We build factories here in America and create jobs. We will provide jobs for all who are free from prisons as we abolish the 13th Amendment. Message sent with love." And at the end of September, Kanye appears on Saturday Night Live as the musical guest, appearing in promotional clips, still wearing the red MAGA hat. After his musical performance, whilst wearing the red MAGA hat, Kanye went on a political rant in support of Trump, even claiming to have been bullied backstage.
You see, they laughing at me. You heard them, they scream at me. They bully me. They bullied me backstage. They said, don't go out there with that hat on. They bullied me backstage. They bullied me. And then they say, I'm in a sunken place. You want to see the sunken place? Okay, I'm going to listen to y'all now. Or I'm going to put my Superman cape on. Because this means you can't tell me what to do. Follow your heart and stop following your mind. That's how we're controlled. That's how we're programmed. If you want the world to move forward, try love. Thank y'all for giving me this platform. I know some of y'all don't agree, but y'all be going at that man neck a lot, and I don't think it's actually that helpful. I thought this country said I could be me. I love me too.
Donald Trump himself would even respond to these antics with a tweet of support for Kanye, saying, "Like many, I don't watch Saturday Night Live, even though I past hosted it. No longer funny, no talent or charm, it's just a political ad for the Democrats." But word is, Kanye West, who put on a MAGA hat after the show, despite being told no, was great. He's leading the charge. However, not everyone was impressed. A week later, SNL cast member Pete Davidson would comment on Kanye's appearance in a Weekend Update segment on the show, saying just how embarrassed he was.
Kanye said after he went off the air last week was one of the worst, most awkward things I've ever seen here. I'm on the left, I'm like, oh God. And then I'm like, I want a career, so I leave. Do you know how wrong about politics you have to be for me to notice? I made this. Make Kanye 2006 again.
But from there, Skete Davidson would go even further, telling Kanye he wasn't just embarrassing himself with the red hat, but also, his wife.
And he started by saying people backstage tried to bully him into not wearing it. He wore it all week. Like, nobody told him not to wear it. Like, I wish I bullied you. I wish I would have suggested that, you know, it might upset some people, like your wife or every black person ever, you know?
Pete continued his savage tirade against Ye, telling him to take his meds and saying there was no excuse for his behavior.
Kanye, I know you're like, yo, this is the real me. I'm off the meds. Take them. Being mentally ill is not an excuse to act like a jackass.
A scathing and fairly funny assessment of Kanye's state. But funnily enough, this was only the latest in a string of anti-Trump, anti-Kanye reports which Pete Davidson had delivered from the Weekend Update desk.
Well, now anyone thinks they could run for office. Like, even Kanye thinks he could be president. He's been saying he loves Trump and is going to run against him. Like, he heard people saying this was the greatest threat America's ever faced, and he was like, no, I'm the greatest. Like, we as a country need to agree that if it isn't over a sick beat, we don't want to listen to anything Kanye West has to say ever again.
And I'll tell you what, I am certain that Kanye watched those reports and vowed revenge on Pete Davidson. But for now, he would just continue digging a deeper hole for himself. As following Trump's tweets of support for Kanye wearing the MAGA hat on SNL, on October the 11th, 2018, Kanye West would meet President Trump once again in person at the White House, this time for an on-camera sit-down conversation that lasted a whopping 20 minutes. This interview/meeting/insane rant was a historic moment in culture and politics, so much so that it even ended up appearing in a history textbook. And over the course of the interview, Kanye West touched on a number of hot-button political issues, many of which he spoke real sense on, in my opinion, particularly America's lack of support for mental health and its role in contributing to inner-city violence, as well as calling to bring manufacturing back to America from China.
We got rid of the mental health institutes in the 80s and the 90s, and the prison rates just shot up, and now you have Chirac. There's a lot of things affecting our mental health that makes us do crazy things that puts us back into that trap door called the 13th Amendment. When we make everything in China and not in America, then we're cheating on our country. And we're putting people in positions to have to do illegal things to end up in the cheapest factory ever, the prison system.
And while I don't have time to break down the entire interview in this video, the media would naturally focus on some of the more negative or unpolished aspects of Kanye's appearance. Because littered in between strokes of genius were moments of madness where Kanye said things that would be difficult to agree with or understand. In fact, the way that he spoke, just ranting directly at Trump for 10 minutes straight, without a breath or break for Trump to get a word in edgeways, really made things come across much more like a one-sided rant rather than an actual discussion. And when Kanye did pause to let Trump speak, he seemed completely baffled and unable to come up with a response.
To have to do illegal things to end up in the cheapest factory ever, the prison system.
I'll tell you what, that was pretty impressive. You know, I hate to say this, Jim. Do you want to say something? What do you do after that?
During this speak, Kanye would rally against Saturday Night Live for making Trump look bad, saying that the president should be made to look like the freshest person on earth.
What I need Saturday Night Live to improve on, and what I need the liberals to improve on is, if he don't look good, we don't look good. This is our president. He has to be the freshest, the flyest planes, the best factories.
Kanye would even be confronted by a reporter about his differing opinion to Trump on the stop and frisk policy, leading a flustered Kanye to call Trump bro.
Trump has said that he favors stop and frisk. Are you guys going to be discussing that? Do you think you can change his mind?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss. I didn't mean to put you on blast like that, bro, but it's definitely.
I'm open-minded. I'm here.
Kanye would go on to call himself a crazy MF, and advising Trump to change his campaign slogan to Make America Great and drop the again.
To have a crazy motherfucker like Kanye West run up and support, but best believe we are gonna make America great. I made a hat that says Make America Great. All we have is now, all we have is today. So the word again, it doesn't hurt us because we need to focus on who we are now, today. I believe.
In the end, despite it being hard to follow and extremely unpolished, Trump seemed satisfied with the clout-charged photo op that Kanye had given him, telling Ye that he was welcome to speak anytime he wanted, even signaling his support for a future presidential run.
He can speak for me anytime he wants. He's been a great guy. He's a smart cookie, smart. He gets it.
Is this a future presidential candidate?
Could very well be.
Only after.
Could very well be. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
The meeting ended with an unplanned hug that looked like it had Trump's security detail about to go all DaBaby on Kanye.
And I love this guy right here. Let me give this guy a hug right here. I love this guy right here. Yeah.
Come in.
Yes.
This appearance was iconic no matter what your opinions are on Trump or Kanye, and you can't deny that it made for one of the most interesting moments of news of the past 10 years. However, yet again, not everybody was happy at seeing Kanye don the red hat across the table from Donald. We already know from his comments during the meeting that Kanye doesn't appreciate the comedy stylings of Saturday Night Live, and with that in mind, it was absolutely no surprise that following the meeting, SNL were the first to jump in and mock Trump and Kanye, with a sketch spoofing their meetup releasing just days afterwards. Now, I'm not sure exactly what happened behind the scenes between Kanye and his family following this appearance, but only a couple of weeks later, Kanye would come out on Twitter saying that he was distancing himself from Donald Trump, tweeting, "My eyes are now wide open, and I now realize that I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative." Going on to drop further tweets thanking his family for supporting his actual beliefs, without mentioning Donald Trump specifically. Now, weirdly, conflicting reports came out soon after this. Initially, within days of those tweets, some papers had reported that Kim Kardashian was allegedly furious at Kanye for quitting politics, suggesting that the family had already invested millions of dollars on Kanye's political ambitions. But then, a couple of weeks on from those tweets in November, Kim came out telling Van Jones on CNN that she was the one who had educated Kanye on Donald Trump's policies after he'd visited the White House, saying that really Kanye just likes Trump's personality, and seemingly taking credit for Kanye's withdrawal of political support for Trump.
We have very similar politics. He's very not political, actually. He just happens to like Donald Trump's personality, but doesn't know about the politics. So, I've educated him recently.
But weirdly, while Kanye was withdrawing from politics, Kim was leaning in. After her success early in the year helping Alice Johnson with her case, Kim Kardashian would turn her attention to the next big political injustice, Meek Mill. Yes, in November 2018, Kim Kardashian would meet Meek Mill along with philanthropist Clara Wu, no affiliation to the Wu-Tang Clan, at a Los Angeles hotel, where they would apparently discuss criminal justice reform. This meetup seemed from the outside to understandably fit in with Kim Kardashian's ongoing efforts to do what she could to improve America's criminal justice system. However, Kanye West would have other suspicions. Who knows if there was any truth to this, but he would later tweet during a 2020 Twitter meltdown that he thought that there was something untowards going on between Kim and Meek Mill during this meeting. Perhaps there was some truth to these allegations, or perhaps he was just triggered by the hypocrisy of Kim admonishing him for dabbling in politics, while she continues to pursue her own political ambitions with clandestine hotel meetups with other rappers. It also probably didn't help that following this very meeting, Meek Mill would also come out publicly saying that he too had unsuccessfully tried to convince Kanye not to meet with Donald Trump, going as far as to say that Kanye's meeting with Trump was a mockery that Ye simply was not prepared for. Regardless of what the real reason was, Kanye was apparently livid with Kim after she met with Meek Mill, later revealing on Twitter that it was this meeting that led Kanye to first consider divorcing Kim, which only foreshadowed yet more trouble in the relationship on the horizon. Later on that same month, Kim Kardashian would appear on Ellen, hinting again towards Kanye's jealous tendencies, saying that Kanye gets upset about her sexy photos, but she's not bothered about how he feels.
You know, we do little impromptu photo shoots just for Instagram, but I wasn't walking around baking like that. And you can get in trouble with your husband sometimes over too many photos like that.
Oh, I was going to ask if Kanye, if that bothers him.
Yeah, it does.
Perhaps the pressure and jealousy was getting to Kanye around this time, because at the end of 2018, he would have yet another Twitter breakdown, taking aim at long-running rival Drake once again. And if you want to know the full background on this, you can go and check out the video I've got about Kanye and Drake's beef, and Drake's beef with Pusha T, which Kanye got dragged into. But long story short, Drake had accused Kanye of being the person who told his arch-nemesis Pusha T that he had a secret child. Both Kanye and Pusha T denied this version of events, and in December 2018, Kanye would call out Drake for being fake, apparently being triggered after receiving a message saying that Drake was looking to clear an old Kanye West song sample on a re-release of an old Drake track that was headed to streaming services. From here, Kanye would go on a Twitter tirade against Drake, saying that he's still expecting an apology from Drizzy for dissing Kanye's 350 sneaker speakers in what he saw as an attempt to take the food out of his children's mouths. Going on to tell the world that he believes Drake is two-faced for dissing him on songs and texting his mother-in-law Kris Jenner asking how is the family around the same time. Kanye would go on to tweet ominously that both him and Drake could pay to have something done to each other, seemingly alluding to more threats of violence between the two being made offline. At a certain point, Kim Kardashian herself would even pipe up on Twitter telling Drake not to threaten her husband. And then something strange happened. As pop superstar and Pete Davidson's ex-girlfriend Ariana Grande decided to capitalize off the back of Kanye's trending Twitter meltdown, using the trending topic to promote her new single with Miley Cyrus, with a tweet telling Kanye to have a break from his mental breakdown to let the girls shine. Kanye would clap back saying that he is going through mental health challenges and that Ariana Grande should not capitalize on the back of it to promote her new song. This prompted Ariana Grande to apologize and delete her tweets, which then ironically prompted her disgruntled ex Pete Davidson to come out defending Kanye for standing up for himself and speaking openly about his mental health online. Who'd have thunk it? Skete defending Kanye. But anyway, once the beef had settled on the Kanye-Drake beef on Twitter, with Kiki seemingly showing the world that she would not be riding for Drake, from here it seemed like Kim and Kanye would continue working on their relationship and moving forward positively. And in the months that followed, both Kim and Kanye would be in the media for a myriad of reasons, both good and bad. On Christmas Day 2018, Kanye would show Kim just how much he loved her in the most bureaucratic way possible, buying Kim major stock positions in a bunch of large companies.
Then I opened the next box, and it is stock to Amazon, where he got the gift cards, stock to Netflix, stock to Apple, hence the little headphones, Adidas stock, and Disney stock.
And then in January 2019, Kim and Kanye's slimy old buddy The Game would be back once again to shake things up, releasing yet another spicy song snippet, reminding the whole world once again that he had engaged in oral intercourse with Kim Kardashian. Not sure how Kanye's gonna feel about that one. Also in January 2019, on frequent Kanye collaborator Kid Cudi's birthday, his buddy Pete Davidson takes him out for a lovely birthday dinner at Malibu restaurant Nobu. Apparently Kanye and Kim showed up out the blue, joining them at their table and ordering everything on the menu. Yes, Kim was there, even being the photographer for photographs that included both Kanye and Pete. And Pete Davidson would later claim in an interview that he ended up getting shafted when everybody left the dinner, leaving him with an enormous bill. But clearly it didn't seem like there was any significant beef between Kanye and Pete at this point, and perhaps Pete's recent tweets supporting Kanye West, speaking openly about his mental health, had made up for the fact that Kanye might have felt slighted when Pete had dissed him for wearing the MAGA hat on SNL. But regardless, at least for now, Kim and Kanye had survived each other's respective political battles, and despite still having some relationship issues beneath the surface, Kim Ye would continue into 2019 united, even welcoming yet another child into the family. And from here, Kanye would spend the next year finding his religion and doing the best that he could to bring his family and his career closer to God. When Kanye West was hospitalized at the end of 2016, he found religion and vowed to start a church in Calabasas.
One of the things that happened when I went to the hospital is I started reading the Bible and I started writing out, copying and writing out Bible verses. One of the things that I wrote down was build a church in Calabasas.
And so on the first Sunday of 2019, Kanye West would hold his very first Sunday service, with glimpses of the show coming courtesy of Kim Kardashian's IG story. This was a religious-themed live show where Kanye West would perform gospel iterations of his hit songs and new tracks with his choir group, The Samples. And as the months of 2019 went on, the legend of Kanye's Sunday service sessions would grow, and he would take the show to numerous locations, welcoming A-list celebrities to the services on an invite-only basis, leaving desperate fans and media scrambling to try and work out what this mysterious Sunday show was all about. Kanye's own children would appear to absolutely love the event, with their kids being seen dancing in numerous viral clips posted on Kim's social media. Seemingly, after finding a place for God in his professional life, Kanye was bringing that religious positivity to his family too. A family that would soon be growing, as it was also reported in January 2019 that Kim and Ye were expecting their fourth child, again by a surrogate. And in the midst of the good news, it seemed like Ye was doing all he could to get into his wife's good graces and present a positive image of his relationship to the public. For example, on Valentine's Day, Kanye had Kenny G himself serenading Kim in a living room filled with roses. and by the end of February, Kim was sharing lo-fi family pics of her, Kanye, and the kids. This series of photographs actually prompted fans to criticize Kim and Kanye for playing poor with their faux low-quality photography. In March, Kim would continue posting happy family photos with Kanye looking like he was in good spirits. And by April 2019, things were seeming very positive, with Kim and Kanye showing off their creepy minimalist home in an appearance on Vogue's YouTube channel, a segment titled 73 Questions. During the video, Kanye was seen surrounded by his kids looking like the ultimate family man. Funnily enough, Kim even said that her and her sisters had a family group chat where they share parenting advice, a group which Kanye appears openly excluded from.
My sisters and I are on a group chat, always getting parenting advice.
But they don't get advice from me. Can I get on that chat, please?
But apparently, things weren't all good beneath the surface. Kim would discuss on her own show in April that she was upset about Kanye's latest plan to move the family back to Chicago, with Kim calling this her breaking point.
I'll move back to Chicago, I'm never leaving again.
It might be my breaking point.
That should have been a conversation before I see on the internet you're moving to Chicago. I find out.
No, I told you that before. We had that conversation. We already talked about
not a serious conversation.
It was any conversation I have is serious. I don't joke.
But despite their disagreement on their living situation, Kim and Kanye would pull together to welcome their new child to the world, with Kim announcing the arrival of a new baby boy on May the 10th, later revealing the fittingly biblical name as Psalm West, revealing the child in a tweet that gracefully this time didn't include a tracker link to one of her businesses or require a $2.99 app download to take a look at. But Kim didn't let her fourth child stop her from playing politics, because the following month in June, on the 13th, Kim would meet with Donald Trump once again, speaking at the White House about her ongoing efforts at criminal justice reform.
And she's been a real friend, and her husband has been a real friend of mine, Kim Kardashian West.
So it's cool when Kim meets up with Trump, but not when Kanye does it. So while Kim was playing politics, Kanye was building businesses. In July, he was interviewed by Forbes, who finally recognized his Yeezy clothing brand as a billion-dollar business, revealing that in 2019, Kanye's brand was set to reach $1.5 billion in sales, which for reference is around half of what Michael Jordan's Jordan brand nets in a year. The publication stopped just short of labeling Kanye a billionaire in his own right, suggesting that he would soon be joining Kylie Jenner and Jay-Z in the Billionaires Club, much to the disappointment of Kanye, who claimed to already be a billionaire at this point. But regardless of whether or not Forbes would recognize him as the billionaire he believed to be already, he would soon be looking for a way to spend those billions. And after having a successful album launch of his Ye project at Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Kanye would once again return to the rural American state, this time with his checkbook, looking to make a huge development in land that he was hoping to develop for the future of his business and family. In September 2019, Kanye West buys a $14 million, 9,000-acre ranch in Cody, Wyoming in the middle of nowhere. This is an extremely remote spot with thousands of acres of vacant land surrounding it. It was initially unclear what Kanye was doing with such a remote and sprawling location, but reports would later surface of Kanye's plans to build an enormous 70,000 square foot amphitheater, with Kanye apparently describing the space as the West Meditation Space Large Impact Structure. He's sounding more and more like a cult leader by the second, isn't he? Now, Kanye West would use his newly acquired ranch as a recording retreat for his 2019 gospel album, Jesus is King. Born out of 2019 Sunday service sessions and intense recording sessions at his new Wyoming ranch, the Jesus is King album was a big step in Kanye's artistic development, moving away from profanity and delivering a church-ready album focused mainly on prayer and positivity. And it seemed that if Kanye's lyrics were anything to go by, he was wholly focused on his family and his faith at this point in his life. And upon its release on October the 25th, 2019, Kanye would elaborate on his experience buying the ranch and recording the album in an extended interview with Zane Lowe recorded on location in Wyoming. Kanye would tell Zane Lowe that he recorded his Ye album in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Following that experience, he wanted to buy property in the area, but there was nowhere in Jackson Hole that would sell him more than 500 acres at a time. Kanye was looking for somewhere where he could get thousands of acres to set up the Yeezy campus, ultimately choosing Cody, Wyoming.
I was looking for a multi-thousand acre property, and Jackson Hole didn't have any properties available over 500 acres because I was looking for a place to set up the Yeezy campus. So we found out about Cody and we came here.
Kanye would say that he wanted to use the land to farm his own cotton and other materials in order to make the Yeezy brand completely sustainable.
We're gonna have hydroponic cotton, wheat, hemp.
Full sustainability.
Yes.
and he would say that he moved away from Calabasas after building experimental domes which were deemed by the city to be 10 feet too high, ultimately being torn down.
I was in California building my domes, and they said my dome was 10 feet too high. Right. Then they tore it down.
That kind of semantic.
Also in this interview, Kanye touched on the state of his family and his experience in fatherhood, saying that Kim is supportive of his newfound faith and Sunday service movement.
And they're believing Kim as well?
Yes.
He also said that since leaning deeper into his faith, he was upset at having previously sexualized his daughter by trying to dress her fashionably and provocatively.
Trying to have my daughter outdress Rihanna. His daughter was walking around with a slip dress. I don't think North should wear crop tops just because I had her wearing a slip dress when she was 2 years old. I think and feel differently now that I am Christian, now that I'm the founder of a $3 billion organization and married for 5 years.
Kanye also reaffirmed his intentions to run for president and ominously pledging to settle scores with anyone who didn't believe in his ambitions previously.
There will be a time where I will be president of the United States, and I will remember. I will forgive, but I will remember.
Clearly, Kanye had a big vision that went far beyond just buying a big ranch where he could hide out from paparazzi and record music. But for the man that has everything, apparently one farm with thousands of acres isn't even enough. And 2 months later, in November 2019, it was revealed that Kanye was buying yet another Wyoming ranch, this time snapping up a 6,714 acre site called Bighorn Mountain Ranch for a cool $14.5 million, with these two ranches being roughly 50 miles apart. By the end of November, Kanye appeared to be proudly showing off his new acquisitions alongside his extended family, with the music video for his Jesus is King track closed on Sunday, depicting him and his family, Kris Jenner and all, exploring the Wyoming landscape in very cool off-road vehicles. However, after already putting up a fight against Kanye's suggested move to Chicago, it would be hard to believe that Kim would give up being worshipped in Beverly Hills for Moose Knuckles and Montclair in Wyoming. And in an interview with Vogue, Kim would say that she imagined living in Wyoming in maybe 10 years' time, showing that deep down perhaps her and Kanye's medium to short-term plans weren't quite in alignment. But frankly, disagreeing on living on a ranch in Wyoming would be the least of Kim and Kanye's worries. Because having ended 2019 with the successful launch of his new gospel-focused music, and after acquiring thousands of acres of land to build and grow on, we'd soon be rolling into 2020. Election year. And Kanye, fueled by his enormous ego and ambitions to be president, despite lacking the qualifications, vision, or coherency, and further emboldened by the simple fact that Donald Trump became president, so why can't Ye? And so, in 2020, Kanye West would embark on his biggest challenge yet, biting off more than he could chew and launching a poorly thought out presidential run that would be so disastrous, so embarrassing, that it would ultimately cost him his family. 2020 started out as a successful year for the Kardashian Wests. In February, Kim and Kanye appeared to be on good terms, appearing together in an Architectural Digest interview explaining the backstory to their minimalist home. Kim was continuing her efforts to enter politics, visiting the White House yet again in March, this time flanked by a number of women whom she'd advocated for in her ongoing campaign for criminal justice reform. And then in April, Kanye would get a big win when Forbes finally recognized him as a member of the Billionaire Club. However, perhaps the old phrase "mo money, mo problems" still rang true, because in the months that followed, numerous reports circulated suggesting that once again there was friction between the power couple. In May, papers reported that Kim Kardashian had been struggling with anxiety and feeling neglected by Kanye after an uncomfortable domestic arrangement during the first coronavirus lockdown, with suggestions that Kim had even suffered panic attacks and resorting to living in a separate wing of the home to Kanye. In June, it was even rumored that Kim was considering living completely apart from Kanye, but despite the apparently difficult home life, it appeared that Kim was still crushing it at work. After a June deal saw her selling 20% of her beauty business to cosmetics maker Coty, in a deal similar to the one that made her sister Kylie Jenner a billionaire, this deal would see Kim Kardashian's business valued at $1 billion. With Kanye coming out with a tweet congratulating his wife on officially becoming a billionaire, along with an image of some flowers and vegetables. Kanye seemed proud of his wife's big achievement, but perhaps behind it there was a hint of jealousy. In a way, Kim was catching up. Kanye is a man of big ideas and big ambitions, and perhaps he felt he needed to do something to upstage her and show the world that he could still make the impossible possible. Or maybe he did truly think that he was a superhero put here by God to save the world. But less than a week after his tweet congratulating his wife on becoming a billionaire, on July the 5th, 2020, Kanye would head to Twitter once again, announcing his full intention to run for president that very year, saying, "We must now realize the promise of America by trusting God. unifying our vision and building our future. I am running for President of the United States. Hashtag 2020 vision. And this tweet even got a response from Elon Musk declaring his full support for Kanye. And even now political rival Donald Trump would tell Real Clear Politics that Kanye's 2020 run would be a great trial run for a successful bid for the presidency in 2024. Following the announcement of his candidacy, Kanye would elaborate on his positions in a July the 8th, 2020 interview with Forbes magazine. In this interview, Kanye claimed to be done with his political support of Donald Trump as he begun the public launch of his own presidential candidacy. In an alleged 4 hours of rambling interviews with Forbes, Kanye revealed that he wouldn't be running as a Republican or Democrat, ditching the two main and established political parties in America and opting instead to form his own political party called the Birthday Party. In fact, from the very first paragraph, Kanye's Forbes interview made it very clear that his presidential campaign was a complete shambles from the word go. Apparently Kanye had yet to file the paperwork to be included on the ballot, but according to him, he was already planning to use coronavirus as an excuse to bend the rules. Apparently Kanye had quickly swung from supporting Trump to win in 2020 to deciding to instead run himself after being upset that Trump hid in a bunker during protests. Kanye went on to bizarrely explain away his earlier support of Trump and the wearing of the red MAGA hat as simply being the result of him liking Trump hotels, more specifically the saxophones in the lobby. He would say that he had no foreign policy whatsoever apart from putting America first. He came out as firmly anti-abortion. He also pledged to clean up the chemicals in deodorant and toothpaste. In fact, during the recording of this bizarre on-the-phone interview, Forbes editor Randall Lane even claimed that Kanye would break into spontaneous freestyle raps straight into the phone, and in lieu of any real plan or strategy, Kanye revealed, I kid you not, that his administration would be following the Wakanda framework of government. This article straight out the gate was a complete disaster for Kanye, and quickly prompted Elon Musk to publicly pull his support in a tweet saying that him and Kanye had many more differences of opinion than he had initially anticipated. But a lack of support wouldn't stop him, and Kanye pressed forward with his presidential run. On the 9th of July, Kanye tweeted a video showing himself registering to vote for the very first time in Wyoming.
Hey, what's up everybody, it's Jay. I'm here at the county clerk's office and I wanted to show you how I just registered to vote. New voter application. My name, my date of birth. There's a lot of people who think they can't vote because they're a convicted felon, but they actually can ask for their rights back. Yep.
And that very same day, Kanye also tweeted a divisive anti-abortion statement, including a Google image of a 6-month-old fetus, telling the world that these souls deserve to live. Also, this very day, unsurprisingly, reports emerged that suggested that Kanye's family were concerned that he was in the midst of a bipolar episode. But sadly, for Ye's family, the worst was yet to come, as it was on the 19th of July when Kanye would throw his very first campaign rally. The event was completely disorganized and unprofessional. A lot of the media coverage of this event was focused on Kanye's tearful breakdown when he told the story of nearly aborting his first child, but there was a whole lot more to this rally than that. He appeared at the event dressed in a bulletproof jacket labeled security, along with an outrageous 2020 shaved into the back of his head. I mean, this was clearly a man not thinking straight. The content of his speech would echo earlier comments made at TMZ, referring to slavery, which offended pretty much everyone, with Kanye hitting the stage and saying that Harriet Tubman never freed the slaves, suggesting once again that slavery was a choice, immediately upsetting the audience.
Well, Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people.
From here, it would be immediately evident that Kanye's thoughts were not concise or focused. He would quickly jump between topics, suddenly arguing out of nowhere that he should be on the board of Gap and Adidas.
The National Basketball Association is not owned by any blacks. Universal Music is not owned by any blacks. I am not on the board at Adidas. I am not on the board at Gap. And that has to change today, or I walk away.
He would rally against many of society's vices.
And the freedom does not come from an election. The freedom comes from you not loading up pornography. The freedom comes from you not taking the Percocet. The freedom comes from you not downing your brother and your sister. The freedom comes from you putting that gun down and not shooting people at the gas station. It has nothing to do with this election. It only has to do with God and God's people.
But things would get the most intense when he went on his famous rant against Planned Parenthood. Starting with the startling but underreported statement where he explained that when he'd been hooking up with Kim Kardashian at the start of their relationship, he'd been sleeping with so many other women that initially when she called him crying, he was worried that he had given her AIDS.
I remember that my girlfriend called me screaming and crying. I was just thinking, because at that time I was a rapper, I was out there, I had different girlfriends and everything. So my girlfriend called me and I just thought to myself, please don't tell me I gave Kim Kardashian AIDS. That's gonna be the worst thing. She said, I just came from the doctor. I was like, oh my God, don't tell me I gave her AIDS. Because I was having, like, you know, the rapper's lifestyle.
Kanye would go on to say that the call was about Kim Kardashian being pregnant, with Kanye initially happy that he didn't give her AIDS, but then sad that he would have to have an unwanted child.
Then she said, I'm pregnant. And I said, yes. Then I said, no.
Kanye went on to say that he had initially planned to abort the child with Kim before having direct contact with God, who told him that the child would be part of the vision.
She said she was pregnant, and for 1 month and 2 months and 3 months, we talked about her not having this child. She had the pills in her hand. Do people know these pills? Yes. Where you take the pills, and if you take it, it's a wrap. The baby's gone. And I'm in the apartment where my wife was actually robbed. And I have my laptop up and I've got all of my creative ideas. I got my shoes, I got my next album cover, I got communities, I got clothes, I got all this. And the screen went black and white. And God said, if you fuck with my vision, I'm gonna fuck with yours. And I called my wife. And she said, we're gonna have this baby. I said, we're gonna have this child.
Kanye then says, seemingly acknowledging the problems that he had been having with Kim, that even if she divorces him after this speech, at least she brought North into the world.
So even if my wife were to divorce me after this speech, she brought North into the world, even when I didn't want to. She stood up and she protected that child.
Kanye then brought up his mother, saying that 43 years ago, she had done the same thing for him.
43 years ago, who do you think protected a child? Your mom. My mom. My mom saved my life. My dad wanted to abort me.
It's at this point in the rally that Kanye begins to tearfully break down on stage, which is no surprise considering just how much of a sore point discussion of his mother is to him.
My mom saved my life. There would have been no Kanye West because my dad was too busy.
Kanye, we love you.
Kanye would then attempt to regain his composure, even telling the crowd that he was told specifically not to reveal this story because it would cause him to lose his Gap deal.
Then they said to me, you can't tell them about the story, you're gonna lose your Gap deal. They made me put a Gap deal over my daughter.
Take a deep breath, brother.
They made me put a Adidas deal over my daughter.
This moment was truly hard to watch, but what came next was equally tough, as Kanye would gain his composure, channeling his emotions into a rallying call against Planned Parenthood and abortion, calling for Plan A over Plan B.
No more Plan B, Plan A. Anyone who is pregnant, you have an option of $50,000 a year that I will support with the organizations that I make to take care of your child.
After more back and forths, it became very clear that Kanye was losing the crowd, walking back his earlier statements and saying that he doesn't believe abortion should be illegal.
I don't think we should say abortion should be illegal because a lot of women just can't afford it mentally and financially to have a baby.
Let me explain something to you guys. My stance is not to make abortion illegal at all. It should always be legal, but there should be an option of maximum increase for having a child. Maximum increase would be everybody that has a baby gets $1 million or something in that family. We would fund funded with other countries. If you had the opportunity to be given $1 million just for being pregnant, would you have considered? And then everybody would start making children, the greatest gift of life, and there would be 1 million children on this beautiful planet.
At this point, it really does appear as if Kanye is simply making it up as he goes along, simply telling the crowd whatever they want to hear, and just trying to gain adoration for saying the right thing. I know a lot of people will be wondering at this point, what the hell is Kanye smoking? Well, it turns out, just like when he announced that he was running for president, the answer to that was something strong.
I must tell you at my first rally that I did smoke a little bit last night. Every black man on charge for marijuana will be free in 2020.
Kanye is then asked to elaborate on his comments about Harriet Tubman and give his views on homosexuality. He deflects these questions completely and begins arguing with members of the crowd, saying that they were sent here by TMZ before storming off the stage.
First question, I want you to elaborate on the comments on Harriet Tubman freeing the slaves and how she just brought them to other white people. Second question, you believe so strongly in the Bible. How do you feel about homosexuality?
I will start speaking once everyone is completely quiet. You got 2 questions, bro. Put your hands down. I need, put your hands down. I'm gonna answer these 2 questions. I was supposed to leave 10 minutes ago. These are good questions. Put your hands down. So put your hands down. I hear the questions. I wanted to be very clear on the 2 questions.
Got you. Sexual and homosexuality.
I heard you, sir. You don't think I know how to listen?
Everybody knows.
Just like him when you think I don't know what you're saying? You disrespecting his... Yeah, exactly. It's just like, come on, do you want the world to look like it is now or like Wakanda? What y'all want? Which one?
Excuse me, you're looking bad.
No. You are the black person that was sitting here like a TMZ to fuck my rally up. I'm trying to answer a question. You're doing what the guy Vance did to me at TMZ. Do you want to be that same person? And your face is covered so we don't even know who you are.
Now, eventually Kanye does return to the stage after this tantrum to give confusing and inconcise answers.
Harriet Tubman means 400 years, is related to the Bible. It's not directly related to African American slavery. It's related to Hebrews and the Egyptians. Jesus loved everyone. Jesus loved gay people. Everybody's family, everybody has everybody. Everybody's got some holier than thou person. Everybody got the one uncle that people go to for money, to borrow. Everybody got the one uncle that was touching the kids. Everybody got the one, everybody. He's not wrong. He's not.
At this point, Kanye ends the fiasco, saying that it was both extremely good and extremely bad, and saying that he's winning in 2020 and walking off the stage.
That was extremely good. That was extremely bad.
It was real.
We win in 2020.
This event was a complete disaster, and understandably, the final straw for Kim Kardashian. Hell, Kanye even knew it himself, saying on stage that he believed Kim Kardashian would be divorcing him after his tearful rant about initially wanting to abort his daughter. But in the days that followed, Kanye would take to Twitter to continue ranting about his personal life, and burning any remaining bridges that might have been used to save his family, airing out Kim's dirty laundry, and putting the final nail in the coffin for his tumultuous marriage. Ever since Kanye began supporting Trump, memes had circulated online suggesting that Kanye was in the sunken place. This is a reference to Jordan Peele's amazing 2017 horror movie Get Out, a film all about a black man meeting his seemingly woke white girlfriend's family, who all turn out to be a bunch of deranged racists who want to control and imprison him. It's a great movie, and if you've seen it, you'll understand what people are trying to say about Kanye in relation to the Kardashian family. Many Get Out themed memes circulated in reference to Kanye, but it's important to remember they're as much mocking Kanye for his beliefs as they're mocking the twisted Kardashian family's attempts at controlling him. In fact, these memes clearly got under Kim's skin, as we'd see in an angry outburst at the start of an Elle interview.
They're dumb Kanye Get Out reference. It's like, people are so
dumb and stupid.
However, only days after his meltdown on stage at the campaign rally, it seemed like Kanye was ready to address the memes too. On July 22nd, he would tweet saying, "Everybody knows the movie Get Out is about me," saying specifically that Kim had tried to fly out to Wyoming with a doctor to lock him up because he cried about the abortion at his rally. He would claim that Kim was trying to have him sectioned, or as he put it, locked up like Nelson Mandela. He would take aim at Kim's mother Kris Jenner, calling her Kris Jong-un, going on to say that Kris and Kim had put out a statement without his approval, which in his opinion amounted to white supremacy. Kanye would eventually show curved messages that he had sent to Kris Jenner asking to talk, suggesting to her directly that he was ready to go to war with the family. He would go on to tell Kris not to play with him and saying that she's no longer allowed around his children since she tried to lock him up. He then went on to say that he promised God that he would never let Kim photograph his daughter for Playboy magazine or let her sell a sex tape. This was an apparent reference to how Kris Jenner had allegedly masterminded Kim Kardashian's December 2007 Playboy magazine shoot coming off the back of her tape with Ray J. Kanye would continue to tweet demanding that Kris Jenner call him, and soon turning the anger towards Kim herself. It would be at this point that he would tweet revealing to the world that he had been trying to get divorced from Kim ever since she met Meek Mill at that hotel in Los Angeles, inferring that she had cheated on Kanye with Meek, before going on to walk things back saying that Meek had been respectful but Kim was out of line. Well, all of this was certainly not helping Kanye's presidential campaign. But when it comes to your marriage, accusing the mother of your children of cheating and insulting your mother-in-law in front of an audience of millions on Twitter, well, it's hard to see how any relationship could ever recover from that. Following these outbursts, Kim would release a 3-page statement telling the public that Kanye is in the midst of a bipolar episode.
As many of you know, Kanye has bipolar disorder. Anyone who has this or has a loved one in their life who does knows how incredibly complicated and painful it is to understand. I've never spoken publicly about how this has affected us at home because I'm very protective of our children and Kanye's right to privacy when it comes to his health. But today, I feel like I should comment on it because of the stigma and misconceptions about mental health. Those that understand mental illness or even compulsive behavior know that the family is powerless unless the member is a minor. People who are unaware or far removed from this experience can be judgmental and not understand that the individual themselves have to engage in the process of getting help no matter how hard family and friends try. I understand Kanye is subject to criticism because he is a public figure and his actions at times can cause strong opinions and emotions. He is a brilliant but complicated person who, on top of the pressures of being an artist and a black man, who experienced the painful loss of his mother and has to deal with the pressure and isolation that is heightened by his bipolar disorder. Those who are close to Kanye know his heart and understand his words sometimes do not align with his intentions. Living with bipolar disorder does not diminish or invalidate his dreams and his creative ideas, no matter how big or unobtainable they may feel to some. That is part of his genius, and as we have all witnessed, many of his big dreams have come true. We as a society talk about giving grace to the issue of mental health as a whole. However, we should also give it to the individuals who are living with it in times when they need it the most. I kindly ask that the media and public give us the compassion and empathy that is needed so we can get through this. Thank you for those who have expressed concern for Kanye's well-being and for your understanding. With love and gratitude, Kim Kardashian West.
Now, in my opinion, these quotes are some of the most poignant things ever said about Kanye publicly. For once, Kim seems to be giving the world a really fair and honest portrayal of how she feels about Kanye and how her life has been affected by his actions and his mental health conditions. And in response to this, Kanye would later come out to apologize to Kim on Twitter, saying that he shouldn't have gone public with a private matter and asking for forgiveness. But the sad truth is, it was clearly too late for that. Kim was seen days later visiting Kanye at the Wyoming ranch in tears, with many believing that this was perhaps the final conversation between the couple before it was time for divorce. But things weren't quite over yet. Despite his protests on Twitter, the following day, Kanye did the right thing and made a trip to the hospital, reportedly seeking treatment for anxiety, with an ambulance later being seen outside of his Wyoming ranch. Getting treatment during this tumultuous time was a positive step for Kanye, and going into August, it seemed like the couple had taken some constructive steps towards staying together, as it was reported that they had taken a trip together to the Caribbean with a strictly enforced no politics policy. However, it was also reported that despite this brief break from the limelight to focus on repairing his marriage, Kanye was adamant at continuing his political campaign regardless of Kim's feelings. And it really wouldn't help that whilst Kanye was away with his family having a break, Drake, back home, his presidential candidacy was under attack, as negative reports surfaced that alleged that Kanye's presidential campaign was being supported by Republican operatives, with suggestions that people were acting to support Kanye on Trump's behalf in an effort to divert Democratic voters away from Joe Biden, giving Trump a better chance. Now, according to one report, around this time, Kim Kardashian had actually hired political consultants in an effort to help Kanye see what a massive mistake he was making, with Kanye apparently disregarding all of the data and advice, claiming that it was in God's plan that he would become president. And at this point, apparently confidants of Kim Kardashian suggested that they believed the marriage would be over by Christmas. If Kanye's campaign was God's plan, it seems like God has a great sense of humor, because in the weeks that went by for Kanye's campaign, it would be embarrassment after embarrassment. On September the 4th, 2020, it was revealed that Kanye had spent a whopping $6.8 million on his presidential campaign. Apparently the total in the end would be even more, but sadly the public would never get the full picture, as the Office of Government Ethics would refuse to certify Kanye's financial returns, apparently as a direct result of Kanye refusing to disclose the income and assets of his wife Kim Kardashian, with a Daily Beast article later coming out accusing Kanye and his campaign of numerous donation violations, including taking money from foreign nationals, children, people with fake names, with some donor addresses apparently corresponding to drop-shipping warehouses. One donor who had apparently contributed to Kanye's campaign had listed their employer as Poop and their occupation as Pooper. Gives that Poopity Scoop song a whole new meaning, doesn't it? And despite the family getaway intended to save Kim and Kanye's marriage, when Kanye returned home by September, he was straight back to tweeting up a storm. In fact, over the rest of the month of September 2020, Kanye would be on back-to-back tweet storms, calling the music industry and the NBA modern-day slavery, and referring to himself as the new Moses. He claimed that Michael Jackson was murdered after apparently exposing a Sony executive for being racist. He also called out Kris Jenner once again, reiterating that he won't be allowing her to plan any Playboy shoots for his children, as well as saying Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, and R. Kelly were all taken down by white media documentaries. He would go on to tweet his recording contract from 2012, claiming to be exposing the recording industry's exploitation of artists. And then the exploited billionaire would go on to show just how oppressed he had been by pissing on one of his 20-plus Grammy Awards. But then things all came to a screeching halt when the following day, he tweeted the editor of Forbes' personal phone number, which got him banned from Twitter. It was clear to anybody that Kanye West was going through a mental episode at this point, if not just from the sheer amount of tweets that he was putting out at the time. Not all of it's relevant to this story, but there was a lot. At a certain point, things got particularly scary when he began tweeting about his own murder in a message directed to his daughter, with a photograph of her and a message saying, "Don't let the white media tell you I wasn't a good man." But in spite of Kanye's very public meltdown, in the weeks that followed, him and Kim would be reunited, at least acting as if all was good, posing for family pictures and brushing off the rumors of divorce. But around this time, she would also post ominous messages to social media that seemed to hint about big changes coming in her personal life. But unfortunately for Kim, it was still 2020 and Kanye had an election to win. On October the 12th, Kanye dropped his first and only campaign ad, which was mainly focused on faith. This came out less than a month before the election, and considering everything he'd been doing publicly to not be taken seriously, it was hardly doing much. Also in October 2020, Kim had a massive 40th birthday celebration, with this taking place on a private island, much to the disappointment of literally everyone else in the world, still imprisoned in their own homes during lockdown. But Kim was seemingly still with Kanye on this trip, with him giving her one of the creepiest birthday presents in history that she would surely never forget. For Kim's 40th birthday, Kanye had made a hologram of her deceased father, Robert Kardashian, speaking directly to Kim in the present day. And this deeply disturbing deep fake came loaded with a speech apparently planned by Kanye himself, which saw Kim's deceased father, whom Kanye had never met, describing Kanye as the most genius man in the whole world.
Yeah, we're ready. Okay. Kim, this is from Kanye. Happy 40th birthday.
Happy 40th.
Woo!
Yay. Is it a light show? I'm scared. Is anyone going to jump out at me?
No.
Kim, you're fine. It's all good.
Happy birthday, Kimberly.
Look at you. You're 40 and all grown up. You look beautiful, just like when you were a little girl. I watch over you and your sisters and brother and the kids every day. Sometimes I drop hints that I'm around. I am so proud of the woman that you've become, Kimberly, and all that you've accomplished. All of your hard work and all the businesses you have built are incredible. But most impressive is your commitment to become a lawyer and carry on my legacy. The most beautiful thing that I have witnessed is watching you grow your family. You married the most genius man in the whole world, Kanye West. You are the most amazing mother to your 4 beautiful children, and they are perfect.
Thank you for that. Seriously, thank you. Can we see it again?
Yeah, as many times.
I'm sorry, but that is truly awful. The gall of Kanye to think that he can speak through Kim's deceased father and call himself a genius is outrageous. And seemingly, whilst Kim and family were at least publicly grateful for the gift, I'd personally wager that a lot of the Kardashian family, especially Kris Jenner, were watching in horror as tone-deaf Kanye proves once again the emotional limits of his supposedly limitless genius. And Kanye's limits would be proven yet again in the following month, as the man who thinks he can do anything would be humbled by a truly embarrassing election defeat, with this loss sadly being only the first in a long line of impending L's with Kanye's name on them. In November, Kanye would tweet that he was voting for the first time in his life, backing the only candidate that he has ever trusted to run the United States, him. He would use Twitter to show the entire process of him casting his vote, including writing his name in on the ballot. This is something that he would have to do after missing numerous deadlines and eligibility requirements to appear printed on the election ticket nationwide. In the end, Kanye would end up getting around 60,000 votes across 12 states. This was not good. And once the results were in, photos circulated depicting a sullen Kanye watching the polls close on television, isolated and all alone. This photo would be a sad metaphor for the state of things at this point in his life. While other candidates would be watching the results surrounded by their family and a devoted team, Kanye was isolated and alone, having pushed away his family in order to pursue his apparently God-given goal of becoming America's president. And ultimately, he would concede his election defeat in the saddest way possible. A tweet simply saying, "Welp," alongside a picture of Kanye's silhouette over an election map, with him still reaffirming his intentions to run again in 2024. For God's sake, Kanye, give it a rest. Kanye's campaign was a complete disaster from start to finish. And to make matters worse, following the failure of his campaign, some outlets would go on to report that the entire campaign itself was simply a scam to finesse teenagers out of their money, with some accounts surfacing from underage fans suggesting that they had spent small fortunes of thousands of dollars to buy Kanye 2020 campaign merch, with many reporting that they had received nothing. It was all a bad look for Kanye, but he would soon have to face the fact that his decision to run for president had caused irreparable damage to his marriage. In December, more reports surfaced suggesting that Kim and Kanye were living completely separate lives, with Kim reportedly exhausted of Kanye's behavior, and by the 5th of January 2021, it was reported that they were officially discussing divorce and that Kim was completely done with the marriage, with the news accompanied by Kim posting pictures once again publicly showing that she was no longer wearing her wedding ring. And of course, in true Kim style, a few weeks later the hype train would begin, as it was apparently confirmed that Kim and Kanye's divorce would be filmed and covered extensively for the final season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Can't so much as breathe without making a bit of cash off the back of it, can they? But despite ditching her wedding ring, Kim would continue to post thirst traps on Instagram, still wearing the Kanye-designed Yeezy shoes, with it being unclear whether or not her Yeezy ambassadorship was a show of support, or simply Kim making a mockery of her relationship to Kanye. Kim would later post images from her home dressing room, which Kanye had formerly shown off to David Letterman, with Kim's updated pictures confirming that all of Kanye's clothes had been removed from the property. A few days later, it was actually reported that Kanye had removed hundreds of pairs of Yeezy shoes from his former home, and a few days after spending Valentine's 2021 apart, it was reported that Kanye was taking the split incredibly hard since Kim had limited contact between them, with reports also surfacing around this time that Kim had decided to proceed legally, formally filing divorce papers. And while things were apparently amicable around this time, that would soon change. Reports would also emerge during this time, suggesting that Kanye himself had understood that it was his presidential run that had indeed cost him his marriage to Kim. And in the following month of March, it was reported that Kanye had abruptly cut all communication with Kim, changing his number and telling her to contact him through security. This would be a bittersweet time for Kanye, because despite losing the election and his wife, business would be booming. Also in March 2021, Kanye's net worth would jump all the way up to $6.6 billion after the announcement of a deal between his Yeezy brand and Gap. This massive payday quite literally made Kanye West the richest black man in history. But sadly, it was also Kanye's never-ending desire for more money, more power, the presidency, and proving to everybody that he could do it, that ultimately cost him the one thing that money couldn't buy: his wife and his family unit. And so while billionaire Kim continued swanning around in the shoes that made Kanye a billionaire and without her wedding ring, she would also push ahead with the divorce proceedings and taking steps to separate herself from the very man who she became a billionaire with. A year to the month after Kanye was officially named a billionaire by Forbes magazine, on April 26, 2021, Forbes would formally announce that in their opinion, Kim Kardashian had achieved billionaire status too. And whilst Kanye had already congratulated her for her billionaire status on Twitter after she got the Coty deal, Forbes' assessment of Kim's newfound billionaire status would have ironic timing coming only weeks after Kim had filed for divorce from Kanye. On April the 13th, 2021, Kanye would respond to Kim's divorce filing, agreeing joint custody of the children and citing irreconcilable differences as the reason for the split. Now, I ain't saying she a gold digger, but when she married Kanye, her net worth was $45 million. She'd previously spoken at length about how much input Kanye had over her business decisions, suggesting that Ye himself was not impressed with the original mock-ups, completely redesigning things for her Skims brand, and trashing her terrible neon color schemes. A terribly dated approach that even Kim herself admitted would have been the death of her brand. It might be unfair to say that Kanye made Kim. Let's be honest, it was the sex tape that made her. But if Ray J made Kim a millionaire and Kris Jenner's reality show made her a 10 millionaire, it was Kanye's overhauling of her brand and her image that made her a billionaire. And there's no denying that Kim has a natural ability to turn nothing into something. And if anything, she's got an impeccable skill of aligning herself with other actually talented people who help her elevate herself. At the end of the day, it was Kim's association with Kanye West that took her from the dregs of reality TV and Dancing with the Stars to international cultural icon and business magnate. It wouldn't be fair to say that Kanye got completely finessed, but Kim definitely got more out of the marriage than Kanye did. And she seemed to know the exact time to leave. I mean, filing for divorce the same month Forbes announced you as a billionaire. Mwah. And I'll tell you what, I'm sure that if Kanye had won his presidency and Kim was lining up to be the first lady, it would have been a very different story indeed. But in the end, after rolling the dice on trying to become president and failing, Kanye would simply have to accept his losses and proceed onward. But sadly, it would take him quite some time to accept the reality of what had gone on. On April the 28th, 2021, Kanye was pictured on DJ Khaled's Instagram, apparently still wearing his wedding ring. However, by the end of May, Kanye would be spotted out, wearing a mask and no wedding ring, amid rumors that he'd started dating model Arena Shayk. The following month, on June the 4th, 2021, in an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim would essentially say that it was actually Kanye's relocation to Wyoming that played a big part in the breakup, ultimately saying that in the end, she would not be able to support his every move like he wanted. But she still wishes him a happy birthday on June the 8th, and clearly Kanye was having a happy birthday because the day after, he would be spotted out publicly with his new model girlfriend Arena, further fueling the rumors that he had indeed moved on from Kim. A few days after that, on the 12th, Kanye would actually unfollow Kim and the Kardashian family on social media, which is a big deal because it wasn't so long ago that Kim Kardashian was literally the only person that Kanye followed. However, the next week on June the 19th, an image surfaces showing Kim and Kanye taking their kids on a family trip on a private jet, suggesting that at least for the time being, co-parenting between the two was running smoothly. And from here, Kim and Kanye remained cordial as she seemingly played the role of supportive ex, with Kim attending the first listening party for Kanye's next album, Donda, on July the 23rd, with Kanye wearing an all-red outfit made up of Balenciaga and his new Yeezy Gap line, with Kim pulling up showing support wearing all red too. Now, during the tumultuous rollout of Kanye's new Donda album, he would reportedly move into the Mercedes-Benz Arena where he held a series of listening parties. Most people buy a Benz when they get divorced. This guy moved into one. However, perhaps sleeping in the back of his Maybach might have been more comfortable, as pictures and clips would circulate showing Kanye's windowless, prison-like room where he was staying in the stadium, with him even live streaming himself waking up in his little briefs, and apparently sleeping in a balaclava, looking like an extremely down-on-his-luck divorced dad. And at the album listening party itself, Kanye would debut the new song, Never Abandon Your Family, aka Love Unconditionally, a sad, introspective track that saw Kanye West reflecting on his recent bad decisions, asking himself haven't you gone far enough? Sacrifice the ones you love, and admitting that his actions cost him everything, with a heartbreaking refrain that sees Kanye singing repeatedly that he's losing his family. And a second verse with Kanye singing from his kid's perspective, "Daddy, how could you leave?" along with a repeated outro sampling Kanye's mother Donda saying "never abandon your family" over and over again. Perhaps this was Kanye artistically punishing himself for what happened, or even subliminally sending Kim a message pleading for her not to abandon the family and break them up. But at least for now, despite the relationship being over, she'd continue to support him from the sidelines. In August, attending another Donda listening party and sharing Twitter videos of the event. During this session, Kanye would reveal the new track "I Need You" with lyrics reflecting on his marriage, with lyrics referring to infidelity, saying that Kim would take hours longer than she was supposed to getting home, with it being unclear whether or not these lyrics are referring to Kanye being suspicious of Kim's moves, suggesting that she'd been cheating on him while they were married, or even referencing the fact that him and her were having an affair with each other behind their partner's back before they started dating officially. He says that their marriage was the best collab since McDonald's and KFC. He had lyrics referencing the fact that Kim was wealthy before he'd met her, and suggesting that he had brought his billionaire ambitions to the relationship. He references instances where he'd cussed at Kim, with these exchanges leading to court-determined custody. There were lyrics where Kanye seemed to suggest Kim was attending his listening parties to show him that she was still in love with him, ending the verse admitting that their relationship has gone in a different direction. This is a hard song to listen to, but things would only get more strange from here, because at a subsequent listening session at the end of August, as part of the show, Kanye would recreate his wedding with Kim on stage with Kim in a wedding dress. This staged wedding had people speculating that they were getting together again, but I'll be honest, just like the Rob Kardashian hologram, the on-stage fake wedding ceremony was just very weird and uncomfortable. But going forward, Kanye seemed to be repaying the favor, making sure to support his ex publicly, as in the following month of September, Kanye would repost Kim's all-black Balenciaga bodysuit that she wore at the Met Gala, amid reports that Kanye had also started following Kim on social media again, leading to speculation that they might be reconciling. However, don't get your hopes up, because the following month, Kim Kardashian would be making an appearance on Saturday Night Live. That very same show that had made a mockery of Kanye's association with Trump just a few years before. And little did Kanye or Kim know that lurking in the wings of SNL was a hot younger guy, ready to slide in on the spot that Kanye had previously occupied, prompting all hell to break loose online. On October the 9th, 2021, Kim Kardashian hosts Saturday Night Live, with an explosive opening monologue joking about a whole bunch of things, including her surgery, her sex tape, being talentless, and accusations of being a gold digger. There was a lot of spicy and kind of messed up stuff in this monologue, including a segment where she joked about O.J. Simpson, saying that she was the first black man that she had ever met, and poking fun at his crimes.
I know it's sort of weird to remember the first black person you met, but OJ does leave a mark. Or several.
She also joked about not wanting to run for president herself, saying that there's enough failed politicians in her family already.
I'm not running for president. We can't have 3 failed politicians in one family.
And she of course made jokes about not being a gold digger, saying that Kanye is a genius, but she divorced him over his personality.
So, when I divorced him, you have to know it came down to just one thing. His personality.
A savage line which I'm sure hurt Kanye's feelings. But much worse than the words in the opening monologue would be the scenes set up by the cast for her to appear in. During one sketch, she shared an on-screen mouth kiss with Pete Davidson, and she would later admit to feeling a spark between them during the rehearsals for this scene, after apparently practicing the kiss numerous times backstage and having a good time, with Pete Davidson apparently going out of his way to privately coach Kim and make sure that she was comfortable on screen. Oh, Petey Weinstein, I see what you're up to over there at SNL. Tell you what, here's a sketch idea. How about I play Ray J and you play you? Funnily enough, in the weeks that followed, reports would come out that Pete Davidson had been pursuing Kim Kardashian for weeks, and he has even been accused of using Saturday Night Live as his personal dating service. With this being suggested after he apparently met his ex Ariana Grande there, with the show having an open policy that apparently allows cast members to date guests. Now, I gotta say, I find the way that Pete Davidson finessed Kim Kardashian into dating him hilariously ironic, considering the fact that Kanye West had done the exact same thing to weasel his way into Kim Kardashian's life all the way back in 2007, hiring her at the very beginning of her TV career to appear alongside him reading sexually charged dialogue on his sketch show that never got made, all just in a ploy to get close to her. It's so cosmically hilarious that Pete Davidson did the same thing to her that it's genuinely hard to believe it's true, but it is. And just combine that with the fact that this time round it was Pete Davidson courting Kim Kardashian, the very same Pete Davidson that had publicly warned Kanye on the show know that his political ambitions would upset his wife.
You know, it might upset some people, like your wife.
Well, she wasn't his wife anymore, and Pete Davidson knew this all too well. And the weekend following Kim's appearance on Saturday Night Live, Kim and Pete were seen holding hands out in public at Not Scary Farm in Buena, California. And a few days later, they were in New York, spotted at a rooftop date at a restaurant in Staten Island for a not-so-secret dinner. Clearly this was going to get under Kanye's skin. And on November the 5th, 2021, Kanye would lash out in a Drink Champs interview, saying that SNL had forced Kim to put him down publicly in her monologue, purely for the clout, and suggesting that he has not fully gone through with the divorce paperwork yet.
SNL making my wife say I divorced him on TV because they just wanted to get that bar off, and I ain't never even seen the papers. We not even divorced.
In fact, Kanye would speak on the state of his divorce numerous times during this interview, revealing a lot of depressing details, saying that he currently doesn't have a house where he specifically lives.
All I got is this like little bag that's like my house, and my house changes in size depending on how big my bag is. But you know, my home is just when my daughter FaceTimes me. That's where my home is.
Kanye would go on to express a long-held distrust of the nannies that are employed to look after his children.
I do not want over our house, and I don't fuck with some of them nannies either.
He said he felt Kim's publicist had made her scared of Kanye.
She promotes fear. And if my wife can be scared, who the main person she gonna be scared of? And then after that, who my kids gonna be scared of?
And he would suggest that it was his idea to make Kim a billionaire.
Kim Schraub, the head of Skims, she used to be creative director of Yeezy. I brought her over to Skims. But all the suggestions I gave my wife, now she on the cover of Vogue, now she a multi-billionaire.
And at the end of the interview, Kanye got a little bit scary when he said that he would do anything to protect his kids and that people need to stop playing with him.
Y'all wanna keep playing with me? Because at the end of the day, I gotta protect my children at all costs.
Kanye would go on in a part 2 of this interview to say yet more strange things, even going as far as to call himself Young Putin because he runs the culture.
I'm Putin.
The Russian president.
Yeah. Because I was like, yo, I'm Young Putin. When I realized that culture is an oil. Culture is an energy. And I'm the king of culture for the past 20 and the next 2,000 years.
That one didn't age too well. But Kanye would continue to say dumb stuff throughout this appearance, dropping an incredibly insightful gem about how he sees women and seemingly giving an insight into the power balance of his relationship.
There's two types of archetypes, clout-thirsty whores and power-hungry maniacs. No, I meant to say sluts.
And then, to cap it all off, Ye would end the interview by saying that he plans to run for president again in 2024.
Yay, 2024.
For the love of God, Ye, just do yourself a favor. After the Drink Champs interview was recorded, on November the 6th, 2021, Kanye allegedly unfollows Kim on Instagram again after rumors come out that she is indeed dating Pete Davidson. And a day later, Kanye seems to have get back as reports surface that he's dating a 22-year-old model named Vinetria, with the two being seen courtside at a Donda Academy basketball game in Minneapolis. Now, I don't know about you, but I just think the way that Kanye is looking and posing out right at the camera and that she's looking away makes it seem kind of like this picture is staged, but I can't confirm that. More on that later. Because while Kanye is running around posing for pictures with his young new model, Kim's doing the same thing. Because on November the 16th, it's Pete Davidson's birthday, and he's seen celebrating with Kris Jenner, Kim Kardashian, and Flavor Flav of all people. Clearly things are getting serious between the new couple, and only a day after this, Kim and Pete are seen holding hands together in Palm Springs. She's still wearing the Yeezys on her feet, so no doubt Kanye must be punching the air right now. And around the same time that these pics of Kim and Pete looking cozy together come out, so too the reports that their relationship is official. From here, they would continue to be spotted out for dinner together in public, laughing hysterically, with Pete even sporting what looks like a hickey on his neck. Maybe she was a blood-sucking leech after all. No doubt all of this PDA from Kim and her new young boyfriend had Kanye absolutely fuming. And on November the 25th, 2021, during an appearance at LA Mission's annual Thanksgiving giveaway on Skid Row, Kanye would throw all self-awareness out the window, going on a massive rant at an event for feeding the homeless, bragging about having just bought multiple homes to be nearer to his ex, something that would officially hit the news a few weeks later.
So when I'm out the house, I got a house right next to the house. I'm doing everything to be right next to the situation. Right next to the situation. I'm trying to express this way in the most sane way possible, the most calm way possible, but I need to be back at home. Why is that? I'm saying it's because if the enemy can separate Kanye, there's going to be millions of families that feel like that separation is okay. But when the kingdom, when God, who has already won and is so, brings Kanye together, there's going to be millions of families that are going to be influenced and see that they can overcome the work of the separation of trauma of the devil that's used to capitalize and keep people in misery while people step over homeless people to go to the Gucci store.
Yes, Kanye genuinely convinced himself that him and Kim getting back together would somehow stop people stepping over the homeless to get to the Gucci store. A day after this, Kanye would share a 5-minute prayer to Instagram where he claimed he was taking accountability for all the mistakes that he had previously made in his relationship. It honestly seemed like Ye was publicly struggling, and from here, he would continue to try and take steps to bring his relationship back together. On December the 9th, at a benefit concert, Kanye says on stage whilst performing the song Runaway that he wants Kimberly to come back to him. And a few days after this, Page Six report that allegedly Kim thinks that Kanye's attempts to get her back are strange and embarrassing, and she is pushing ahead, filing for papers to be declared legally single, with reports suggesting that she had filed her petition for dissolution of marriage in February 2021, and thus far Kanye had not been responsive. But just like she did to Chris Humphries with Kanye, Kim wasn't about to let still being married stop her from canoodling with her new man. As on December the 19th, Kim and Pete are seen at the movies watching Spider-Man, with a Kanye fan even catching her in the lobby, putting down Pete Davidson and letting her know that Ye is better.
Yo, Kim, Kanye's way better. I'm not even gonna hold you.
And a few days after that, in contrast to Kim and Pete's loved-up affair, it was reported that Kanye had broken up with his young model Venetria, as apparently all of that running around in public saying how much you want to get your wife back doesn't really sit well with your 22-year-old model girlfriend. But with Kanye separating from his hot younger model, that very day, Kim would be seen getting closer to hers. Spotted out for a breakfast date in LA with Pete Davidson, and soon after this, Hollywood Life would report that Pete had been introduced to Kanye's kids as Mummy's friend, with it also being reported that Kim had had the opportunity to meet Pete's mother at Staten Island. And so, Kanye would seemingly be away from his family for Christmas 2021, with Kim posting images of her, Chris, and the kids, no Kanye. And so, with their marriage firmly over, and Kim seemingly fully moved on to Pete, we would go into 2022 seeing a belligerent and heartbroken Kanye West, doing everything he could to drag Kim and her new boyfriend, and thoroughly embarrassing himself in the process. On January the 5th, 2022, Kim and Pete are seen vacationing together in the Bahamas. Meanwhile, a day later, on January the 6th, Uncut Gems actress Julia Fox revealed in Interview magazine that she had been on a date with Kanye, explaining that she met Ye at a New Year's Eve party in Miami where they had an instant connection, carrying their romance back to New York City. She then told the story of him taking her for dinner at a restaurant called Carbone and directing a photo shoot for her whilst other diners cheered them on. After that, he apparently invited her to his hotel suite, presenting her with a bunch of clothes like Cinderella, with this being an apparent throwback to Kanye's early days of wooing Kim Kardashian with shopping sprees and wardrobe overhauls. And Julia Fox was apparently so impressed by Kanye's fashion-based chivalry that she jumped on top of him for a love-making session so spontaneous, a professional photographer managed to capture it all. Now, some have suggested that this was a fake media relationship concocted to make Kim Kardashian jealous. However, Julia Fox would hit back on her Forbidden Fruits podcast, sidestepping accusations that the relationship was just a PR stunt. Now, around this time, many people were also quick to point out that Julia Fox had previously had a sizzling photo shoot with none other than Pete Davidson himself. Perhaps Julia Fox was chosen specifically by Kanye to get back at Pete and Kim, but regardless of the reasoning and the coincidences, as the month went on, Kanye would continue to showcase his new bae to the world. On January the 13th, posting a clip of him and Julia Fox hanging out with Floyd Mayweather, Madonna, and football star Antonio Brown in a scene that was supposed to look cool, but I'll be honest, to me looks kind of awkward and uncomfortable. I mean, I'm not sure anyone's having a good time there. Now, the day after this, Kanye was actually interviewed by Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked, the outstanding online publication that recently reported falsely that Queen Elizabeth had passed away, with Kanye appearing in this illustrious publication to tell the world once again that he don't play when it comes to his kids.
Don't play with me, don't play with my children, and ain't no security gonna get in between me and my children. Don't play with my children, and it's gonna be all legal.
Also in the interview, he expressed his frustrations that Kim had apparently had security prevent him from playing with his children, suggesting that Pete Davidson being in their family home was the reason he wasn't allowed in.
The security stopped me at the gate. So at that point, security was in between me and my children. And I'm hearing that the new boyfriend is actually in the house that I can't even go to.
Kanye went on to say that he had sent a message to Kim telling her not to let his daughter North wear lipstick on TikTok.
Well, tell her, don't have my daughter wearing lipstick on TikTok. I don't have it on TikTok at all.
Now, of course, there would be much more to Kanye's concerns about his children being on TikTok in due course, but in the days that followed that interview, Kanye's aim was squarely on Pete Davidson. As on January the 14th, audio comes out of a new track called Easy, ironically yet another collab with LA's favourite Kardashian slayer, The Game, with Kanye jumping on the track, dropping the incredibly cringeworthy lyric, "God saved me from that crash, just so I can beat Pete Davidson's ass," as well as lyrics referencing his divorce saying, "We having the best divorce ever. If we go to court, we'll go to court together. Matter of fact, pick up your sis, we'll go to courts together." And going on to elaborate on his harsh parenting techniques, seemingly criticizing Kim as a mother, saying, "I got love for the nannies, but real family is better. The cameras watch the kids, you'll stop taking the credit. Non-custodial dad, I bought the house next door. What you think the point of really being rich for? When you give them everything, they only want more. Bougie and unruly, you'll need to do some chores. Rich ass kids, this ain't your mama house. Climb on your brother's shoulders, get that top ramen out." With this sort of aggressive public statement going out against both your ex-wife and her new boyfriend, it's no surprise that the very people you're dissing wouldn't want to be around you. And the day following the release of that snippet on January the 15th, 2022, Kanye would take to social media, wishing his daughter Chicago a happy birthday after apparently not being invited to her party.
Yeah, I'm just wishing my daughter a public happy birthday. I wasn't allowed to know where her party was. There's nothing legal. They're saying that these are the kind of games that's being played. At the light, it's the kind of thing that really has affected my health for the longest. And I'm just not playing. I'm taking control of my narrative this year. I'm being the father, the best father, the Ye version of a father. And I'm not finna let this happen. And we're gonna be in real time. Take a slight right turn onto I-405 right here. North. Chicago, happy birthday. I love you. And I'm just putting this online because I need y'all support. I didn't call Kim, text the nannies. I got on the phone with Tristan. He said, he asked Chloe, won't nobody give me the address to my daughter's birthday party right now? And that's gonna imprint in her mind that I wasn't there for her. You get what I'm saying? Like, I was supposed to be in Miami recording my album. My whole schedule is all based around me being able to take my kids to school, me being there for them, making sure that I'm in their life. That's the whole point of having money. They take so many fathers just throughout America. They've been taking the fathers out the homes purposely. So I'm speaking up. I'm using my voice to say, this ain't gonna keep happening. This narrative is not gonna happen. It's a lot of people that's not in a position where they ain't got no voice when people be playing games like this. Baby mamas be playing games. The grandmama be playing games like this. And it's like, as y'all know, they ain't finna play like that with me.
Kanye would later return to social media, revealing that he had been allowed to attend the party after all, apparently being given the address by expert of sneaking extra people into events, Travis Scott.
Yo, I'm so happy right now. I just came from Shy's party. And I just gotta shout out to Travis Scott for sending me the address and the time and making sure that I was able to spend that birthday memory with my daughter, to be there with the rest of the family. And I just saw everybody. It was, Chris and Corey and Kylie. Kylie let me in right when I got to the spot because the security, stopped me once again when I got there. And it's just a matter of just having a conversation, open dialogue, and it was just, everyone just had a great time, and I'm just really happy that I could be there for my children. I just want to thank everybody for their support in this situation, and just let me just calmly and legally take control of my narrative. I know we disagree. People have different opinions on a lot of different things that I do, but with this one, this is my main focus. My life centers around my children, and I just had a great time today. Thank everybody for their support.
Apparently, even after this successful visit, Kanye wasn't in a forgiving mood, publicly posting that he expected an apology from everyone in the family who had kept the address from him, with an apparent line even mocking Kris Jenner's partner Corey Gamble, suggesting that he is a woman. "I still need a public apology from the entire family for this. You give everything you got to someone, then they try and bully you, and then say they won't apologize. It's up until they all take accountability, every woman there, including Corey." But for now, Kanye had taken the W, but would continue to fight his ex publicly in the weeks that followed, with the central focus of their upcoming beef being the child-focused social media app TikTok. The Kim and North TikTok account was launched in November 2021. The first few posts were inane promo pieces for Kardashian brands. But in my opinion, as time went on, there were flashes of inappropriateness. The very first post was a piece of promo for Kylie Jenner's cosmetics brand. And the background song for this post was Doja Cat's song Need to Know, which features a lyric about that dick being 10 out of 10. And the TikTok itself ends with Kim and North together on screen mouthing that lyric about the D being 10 out of 10 as Kim and North throw up a 10 hand sign. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I personally don't think it's appropriate for a child to be on TikTok promoting makeup and singing that that D was 10 out of 10. And I doubt Kanye did either. Another post from the 25th of November depicted Kim and North with the Playboy Carti track Sky playing in the background, with North appearing on screen while lyrics from the song play saying she's a sex symbol. There's another TikTok where North dances to the song Pocket Rocket by Cochise, with kinda suggestive lyrics about coming to get your girl cause she's a flirt. Now, don't get me wrong, the majority of the stuff on the Kim and North TikTok are cute, innocent interactions between Kim and North, or blatant promo for one of their family-owned businesses. But that's kind of the point. The stuff that seems slightly suggestive or inappropriate for North to be doing on TikTok is probably innocent, but what's really not innocent is Kim using her underage daughter as a non-consenting marketing mascot to promote her and Kylie's makeup or fashion businesses. If North wants to make a TikTok, that's one thing, but Kim is actually putting her daughter to work on this account and cashing in. It's really no surprise that Kanye was upset, since he explicitly said that he didn't want his daughter being objectified since he found God. And so on Friday the 4th, 2022, Kanye posted the following picture of his daughter's TikTok account on Instagram with a caption that said, "Since this is my first divorce, I need to know what I should do about my daughter being put up on TikTok against my will." Now, I do think it's important to appreciate that it's kind of ironic for Kanye to be mad at Kim for parading his daughter publicly on TikTok, as if this is some big new abusive act of exposing the young girl to the scrutiny of social media, fame and celebrity before she's old enough to appreciate that decision, when Kim and Kanye had already showcased their children's faces and personal lives in all manner of high-profile media appearances for their own profile and personal gains. Yeah, Kim is putting their daughter on TikTok to promote the family's brands and make money, but Kanye's also airing the family's dirty laundry out in public, putting details about his other daughter's birthday party on social media for all to see, and that's fine, is it? Frankly, privacy doesn't seem like a priority for any of these people, and I often wonder just how embarrassing Kanye's children will find his public behaviour and outbursts, which have been documented forever, once they get older. Life is hard enough growing up as the offspring of Kim Kardashian, one of the most hated and scrutinised figures on the internet, and now their children will be set to endure an entire childhood of embarrassment from their father immaturely airing out family details and drama for the entire media sphere to comment along to. But regardless of the hypocrisy, from here Kanye would continue to go off at Kim publicly in long social media posts, one of which read, "Yesterday, Kim accused me of putting out a hit on her, so let me get this straight. I begged to go to my daughter's party and I'm accused of being on drugs, then I go play with my son and I take my Akira graphic novels and I'm accused of stealing. Now I'm being accused of putting a hit on her. These ideas can actually get someone locked up. They play like that with black men's lives, whether it's getting them free or getting them locked up. I'm not playing about my black children anymore." This caption was accompanied by an image of Kanye supposedly getting Kim's number from her cousin. And it was followed up by another post with a screenshot of Kim's cousin apparently agreeing with him about the TikTok situation before apparently asking him for sneakers. And the caption read, "This is an example of Kim's cousin agreeing with me about TikTok, then proceeding to ask me for some Yeezys afterward. Her other cousin Cara called me saying she agreed with me, then said she would speak out publicly, which she never did. Then she suggested I take my medication. My dad didn't have money or a public voice when my mum destroyed me and his relationship. I do this for every parent on either side whose kids' futures are being one-sidedly controlled. I don't even have the right to get angry as a father without being called erratic. I gave that family the culture. If they as a whole unit keep playing games with me, then I will take that culture back. A father should never have to beg for the location of their children." Now, Kim would address the TikTok blow-up in an IG story saying that she was tired of the constant attacks.
Kanye's constant attacks on me in interviews and on social media is actually more hurtful than any TikTok North might create. As the parent who is the main provider and caregiver of our children, I am doing my best to protect our daughter, while also allowing her to express her creativity in the medium that she wishes with adult supervision, because it brings her happiness. Divorce is difficult enough on our children, and Kanye's obsession with trying to control and manipulate our situation so negatively and publicly is only causing further pain for all. From the beginning, I wanted nothing but a healthy and supportive co-parenting relationship, because it is what's best for our children, and it saddens me that Kanye continues to make it impossible every step of the way. I wish to handle all matters regarding our children privately, and hopefully he can finally respond to the third attorney he has had in the last year to resolve any issues amicably.
A bit ironic asking for the matters regarding your children to be kept private, while you're the one trotting your child around on TikTok publicly to sell makeup and underwear. But anyway, Kanye would clap back at this, reposting her statement with his own caption saying, "What do you mean by main provider? America saw you try to kidnap my daughter on her birthday by not providing the address. You put security on me inside the house to play with my son, then accused me of stealing. I had to take a drug test after Chicago's party because you accused me of being on drugs. Tracy Romulus, stop manipulating Kim to be this way." Sadly, this was just the latest public showdown, demonstrating the complete breakdown in communication between the two parties. And while you can kind of see both sides' perspective in the row over the TikTok account, it's clear from the tone of the conversations that these two are going to struggle to find common ground and move forward positively. And sadly, as time went on and as Kim and Pete's relationship got more public, Kanye would get more belligerent and threatening to Pete on social media, which in my opinion only made it more likely that Kanye's influence on his family would be seen as negative and dangerous. By the 7th of February 2022, Pete is officially calling Kim his girlfriend in an interview with People.
If I'm off, I just either hang with my friends or chill with my girlfriend inside.
While Pete seemed quite certain who his girlfriend was, Kanye on the other hand seemed a little confused. Despite being linked to Julia Fox, on February the 8th, he'd been seen out with Kim K lookalike model Chaney Jones, with details of a budding relationship between them slowly coming out in the media in the weeks that followed. And then, the day after Kanye was linked to a new lady, on the 9th of February, in a Vogue cover story, Kim would elaborate on her reasoning for leaving Kanye, essentially saying rather cryptically that she had spent years making Kanye happy, saying that she's now decided to focus on her happiness instead, regardless of whether it causes the collapse of her marriage or family unit. And apparently, less than an hour after Kim's Vogue article was published, Kanye took to social media again, posting pictures of his kids alongside the depressing caption, "God, please bring our family back together." Following this, reports circulated that Julia Fox and Kanye's relationship was marred by his existing feelings for Kim and a desire to get back together with her, with Julia even revealing Kanye insisting that she stepped up her fashion sense if she wanted to be seen in public with him, with her apparently getting clothing tips that made her look suspiciously like Kim Kardashian. The relationship with Julia Fox didn't look set to last, and on Valentine's Day it came out that the couple had indeed split up, with Julia Fox contributing to the theory that the whole relationship was fake by posting the following on social media.
Y'all would love if I was so upset. The media would love to paint a picture of me, a sad, lonely woman crying on a plane by myself, but it's not true. Why not see me for what I am, which is a #1 hustler? I came up, y'all, LOL. And not only that, but Kanye and I are on good terms. I have love for him, but I wasn't in love with the man, Jesus Christ. What do you guys think I am, 12 years old? And for the record, the only time I cried in 2022 was on February the 6th on my dead best friend's birthday. Anyway, if you want the full tea, you're gonna have to buy the book when it comes out.
#1 hustler. Gotta wait for the book. Sounds like a fake relationship to me. She'd also go on to mock reports that she had fled LA alone in tears following the breakup, saying,
"Tearfully, Daily Mail, you're straight trash. I haven't cried since 1997, and I especially wouldn't cry over this. If anything, I've been laughing more than before, and if I look like crap, it's because I got out of Terminal 1 and ran on foot to Terminal 7, because I was late for a plane to go and see the only men that matter, which is my son and my dad."
So while Kanye was having a depressing breakup with Julia Fox, who was making him look like a fool on social media, he was playing both sides, apparently sending a truck full of roses to Kim in what appeared to be a completely unwanted Valentine's gesture. This came along with a fresh social media post of Kim out with Pete with a Kanye West caption saying, "I don't have beef with Kim. I love my family, so stop that narrative. I'm not giving up on my family. I bought this coat for Kim before SNL. I thought it was particularly special. I have faith that we'll be back together. I never had anything against Daily Mail. I got love for everyone in the media. I wish you all the happiness in the world. I speak directly to the media outlets the same way a ball player speaks to the ref. life. The world is our court, like a basketball court, and the court of public opinion. We have a public relationship because we are public figures. So to the public and to the press, sometimes people call me crazy. But to be in love is to be crazy about something. I'm crazy about my family. Happy Valentine's. But heartbreakingly, whilst Kanye is going through these feelings, Pete and Kim are out for a successful Valentine's Day, being photographed kissing in public. Funnily enough, just the day before their little Valentine's Day PDA, Kanye had actually been going at Pete's neck on social media. Firstly saying that he was cutting Kid Cudi from his upcoming album due to his friendship with Pete Davidson, as well as sharing an image from that birthday dinner where Kanye had stiffed Pete on the check with Pete's face whacked out. He ought to put a big X over the food that he didn't pay for too. He would go on to say that he just wanted his friend to have his back, as well as posting a bizarre photoshopped poster, putting him and Pete's faces on the Captain America poster, showing himself, Drake, Julia Fox, Travis Scott and Future facing off with Pete Davidson, Kim Kardashian, Kid Cudi, Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift, along with a caption saying the internet has still not found a decent picture of Skete. He'd also post part of a message apparently directly from Skete saying, "As a man, I'd never get in the way of your children. It's a promise. How you guys go about raising your kids is your business and not mine. I do hope one day I can meet them and we can all be friends." Following that up with an image of Pete being fed popcorn by Machine Gun Kelly and a caption saying, "No, you will never meet my children." Apparently Kanye's feud with Pete, or Skete as he was now calling him, was trending above the Super Bowl, with Kanye sharing that fact and another caption reading, "I didn't wake up and fight for my family to trend over the Super Bowl, but it happened. The Super Bowl brings families together. For everyone married, hold your spouse close, make sure they know how much you love and appreciate them, because there's a Skete lurking in every dirty ass alley, waiting to help and destroy your family and walk around in Calvin Kleins around your children. I wish my wife was with me and our children sitting at the 50-yard line. At Kim Kardashian, always remember West was your biggest W." Well, apparently Kanye would still make it to the Super Bowl, with his daughter after all, but things were far from over. He would go on to call Pete a dickhead, and begin to get political in another post reading, "Look at this dickhead, I wonder if Instagram gonna shut down my page for dissing Hillary Clinton's ex-boyfriend." This was followed up with a close-up image of a Hillary Clinton tattoo Pete apparently has, with another caption saying, "When I tag people, I'm just putting together the web. There are a group of people who run media and the election, thank God for free speech." And another caption saying, "Y'all seen that tattoo, but if I speak up, then I'm crazy. I told you, not going to use that one no more. When a garbage man goes to work, he gonna smell like trash, but it's time to take the trash out the house." And hell, Kanye was turning into a one-man Netflix at this point, because he went on to hit followers with yet another fake movie poster, this time captioned, "This ain't about Skete, people, it's about selling y'all a narrative. Skete just playing his part in Frozen 3. Except it's not in the theaters this time, it's on Daily Mail. Tell Bob and the entire Disney staff you wasted your money on Star Wars and Marvel, because even though it makes you money, you'll never control the high schools. No one's ever heard a Machine Gun Kelly song, Bob." With all of this crazy stuff flying around, it would be easy to believe that Kanye's page had maybe been hacked. But he would quickly come out to put any possibility of that to rest, with an image of him holding a handwritten note saying he's not hacked alongside the day's date, and another caption reading, "My account is not hacked, I will be at Sunday service at noon, and will be taking North and Saint to the Super Bowl. At Shay thinks, I'll double whatever they're paying you just so you don't have to look at that porn ever again. Big love." And the following day, he even reposted a message from a fan supporting him, with a caption seeming to call on his fans to harass Pete Davidson in public, saying, "Thank you guys for your support of my family. My family means more to me than any other accomplishment in life. If anyone loves me and my family, if you see Skete in real life, scream at the loser at the top of your lungs and say Kim Ye forever. Broken heart emoji." With Kanye going off so hard, it's no surprise that within days, on the 16th of February, Pete Davidson rejoins Instagram after a long hiatus, quickly following Kim Kardashian. After this, Kanye leaked a private message from Kim telling him that he might get Pete hurt with his demands that fans harass him in the street, with Ye adding the ominous caption, "Upon my wife's request, please nobody do anything physical to Skete. I'm going to handle the situation myself." And after that, he would post an image of a guy in a headlock and tagging Kim Kardashian. After this, Kanye would share another message, seemingly showing that Kim was concerned about dangerous people doing scary things, with Kanye responding, "I will always do everything to protect you and our family forever, and I listened to you and told everyone to make sure nothing physical happens to Skete." With another screenshot revealing that in the same convo, Kim had asked Kanye to stop sharing their conversations publicly, with Kanye saying that Kim is his favorite person in the world and asking why wouldn't he share with the whole world that his favorite person had messaged him. Many people would point out that at a certain point, Kanye's behavior began to seem like harassment towards Kim, and soon he would come out with another post addressing that too, saying, "I've learned that using all caps makes people feel like I'm screaming at them. I'm working on my communication, and I can benefit from a team of creative professionals, organizers, mobilizers, and community leaders. Thank you everybody for supporting me. I know that sharing screenshots was jarring and came off as harassing Kim. I take accountability, and I'm still learning in real time. I don't have all the answers. To be a good leader is to be a good listener." But Ye wouldn't stop completely and continued posting alarming things to social media, like an uncaptioned image of a sign reading, "Stop telling fathers they should have fought harder to see their children and start asking mothers why he had to fight at all." And then quickly backtracking on his pledge not to use all caps, saying, "Vision, oh sorry, all caps is back for the people, that's all cap." In light of Kanye's obsessive behavior online, on the 18th of February 2022, most of the Kardashian unfollowed Kanye on social media following his public threats towards Skete. And it also would come out that Kanye had been banned from SNL, with the cast saying that his name would never be mentioned on the show again because his threats are no laughing matter. After this, on the 23rd, Pete puts up his first public Instagram post since reactivating his account. This was a promo clip for a new project, with the comments immediately flooded by Kanye fans telling him to find God and calling him Skete. This Kanye loyal hate mob's negativity quickly prompted Pete to deactivate his Instagram account. And 2 days later, on the 25th, Kanye would declare victory, telling his followers that him and his fans had ran Skete off of Instagram, going as far as to say Pete should tell his mother that Kanye changed his name to Skete for life. Funnily enough, it was that very same day that Kanye fans began to realize that his new girlfriend Chaney Jones looked suspiciously like Kim Kardashian. In the days that followed, she would post a picture looking incredibly Kim-like, along with Kanye and a black heart emoji, and on the 2nd of March, Kanye would repost an image of him and Chaney Jones holding hands from a blog that had called them a couple, seemingly confirming them as an item, captioning the picture with a black heart emoji too. Hopefully this relationship was the real deal, and Kanye was moving on positively as a single man. Because that same day, Kim Kardashian is granted permission by a judge to be legally single. And during a hearing, Kim had apparently told the judge that her estranged husband was causing emotional distress by putting misinformation about private family matters publicly on social media. But only a day after this, Kanye would take emotional distress to a whole new level by releasing a music video for his song Easy with The Game that had those lyrics where he said that he was going to beat Pete Davidson's ass, with the video depicting Kanye kidnapping, beheading and burying Skete in the ground with some seeds and then growing a plant out of his head, ending the video with a caption saying that everybody lived happily ever after except Skete. Just kidding, he's fine. The day after that, director James Gunn would come out publicly in support of Skete on Twitter, with Kim Kardashian liking it, amid reports that she was apparently furious at Kanye for releasing such a shocking and violent video about Pete. And whilst people were defending Pete, Kanye was wallowing on social media once again, dropping an IG post with a poem about divorce that was very depressing indeed. But the wallowing didn't help, and Kanye would eventually be forced to address the backlash from his music video depicting violence against Pete Davidson, posting a screenshot from the video along with a caption that read, "Art is therapy, just like this view. Art is protected as freedom of speech. Art inspires and simplifies the world. Art is not a proxy for any ill or harm. Any suggestion otherwise about my art is false and malintended." But a couple of days after this, Kim would have some get back of her own. On March 11, sharing fresh pics of her and Pete together on her own Instagram for the first time. A big step for her in cementing Pete officially as her boyfriend in public social media posts. And 2 days after that, on the 13th of March, Skete would finally decide to fight back, sending Kanye numerous messages defending himself, along with a picture of him apparently in bed with Kim, with their conversation going as follows. "Yo, it's Skete. Can you please take a second and calm down? It's 8 AM and it don't gotta be like this. Kim is literally the best mother I've ever met, and what she does for you and those kids is amazing. You are so freaking lucky that she is your kid's mom. I've decided I'm not gonna let you treat us this way anymore, and I'm done being quiet. Grow the fuck up. Oh, you using profanity. Where are you right now? In bed with your wife. Happy to see you're out of the hospital and rehab. Same here. It's wonders what those places can do to you. Go get help. You should try it. I'm in LA for the day if you want to stop being a little internet bitch boy and talk. Well, you're more than welcome to come to Sunday service. Why don't we meet after Sunday service and Saints game? I'll be at the BHH and we can have food and talk it out in my room. Privately, one-on-one, man-to-man. What you're doing to your family is dangerous, and it's going to scar them for life. Please handle these matters privately, bro. I beg you. You want to see me? Come to Sunday service. This isn't public, dude. I'm not here for pictures and press, which is obviously all you care about. My offer stands. I wish you'd man up for once in your life. Let me help you, man. I struggle with mental health stuff too. It's not an easy journey. You don't have to feel this way anymore, and there's no shame in having a little help. You'll be so happy and at peace. You have no idea how nice I've been to you despite your actions towards me. I've stopped SNL from talking about or making fun of you, which they've wanted to do for months. But the same day as this madness is all going down, Kanye posts up a public prayer for his children to make it to Sunday service, which was incredibly strange.
God, if it is in your will, touch the people that are currently watching, my children, whatever sleepovers at, wherever they are at, the various nannies that watch all the children, and touch them and say, please bring my children to Sunday service this morning at 10 a.m. God, this is out of my hands. It's up to you. This whole conversation of custody, this whole narrative, gaslighting, all of this. It's like right now, this is up to you. I thank you for putting me in a position to be able to make Sunday service and put this online and have my family, be there.
Kanye went on in this prayer to God to bring up Pete Davidson's texts about being in bed with Kim and the status of their divorce.
Please, the boyfriend texts me, antagonizing me, bragging about being in bed with my wife. I thought publicly for a year and a half. I've been dragged and how she's not my wife. She don't have her last name. And now he texting me, talking and bragging about how he's in bed with my wife. And I'm like, well, who's watching my children if he's texting me bragging about being in bed with my wife? And I thought this wasn't my wife no more legally, since I got I got the lawyer to finally finish the divorce, because every time I finish the show, the Free Hoover show, the next day she dropping her last night. Every time I do something positive, it's something negative that's coming. I go and get the laptop from Ray J. Then she joking about divorce. I go and get the lawyer, change the lawyer so we can finally do the divorce. And then somehow I'm the one that's the stalker.
Now, I'm sure God probably left that one on red, but Kanye kept going, continuing in his prayer to reference Pete's tattoo of Hillary Clinton, saying that Kim gets people out of jail and Hillary puts them in.
Kim gets black people out of prison. You know who puts black people in prison? The person that the boyfriend has a tattoo of, Hillary. You understand the setup right here? You understand the narrative right here?
In another video, he would also say he'd spent 6 hours driving his children to school and playing with them in Kim's presence that very evening.
I was at the house 3 times this week driving. I was staying 2 hours an hour and a half out of LA. I drove a total of 6 hours every day, like 3 days in a row, to take my kids to school. And then I was in the house with Kim, putting the kids to bed, doing puzzles, doing homework with my daughter, with my children.
But he would go on to say that this energized him because he was previously unable to work after his kids didn't make it to his Donda 2 show.
And then, so that's already creating, oh, I'm cool. I can pick my kids up. I felt energized because I couldn't even rap. I couldn't do anything after North wasn't allowed to go to Donda 2. It paralyzed me.
Kanye would go on to say that Kim has the power over him and ability to cut off access to his kids, which is what he says he's rallying against in the court of public opinion.
And after I saw him, I felt alive again. And then just at the drop of the dime, she can be like, okay, you don't see your kids today.
Kanye would end this video with a chilling line aimed at Kris Jenner, saying that he's not O.J. Simpson and that they're not going to win this one.
Watch this, scrutinize this. Laura, Tracy, Chris, all y'all scrutinize this very close. I am not O.J. Simpson. You're not gonna win this one.
Yikes. On the 14th of March, Kim actually replied to Kanye on Instagram after he shared an image of pins on his daughter's backpack depicting Kim, Kanye, and an alien, along with a caption reading, "This was on my daughter's backpack when I was allowed to see her last week. This is why I go so hard for my family. I am wired to protect my family at all costs. As the priest of my home, don't worry, Northie, God is still alive." To which Kim replied,
"Please stop with this narrative. You were just here this morning, picking up the kids for school."
And a few days later on March the 16th, Kim goes on Ellen and says that she's trying to take the high road and that she just wants the kids to see the best of the best.
No matter what goes on, it's the father of my kids. I'll always be protective. I always want my kids to just see the best of the best. So I just try to, as hard as it can be sometimes, I do try to ignore it and just try to do whatever's best for the kids.
To me, this is a warning shot, and Kanye really needs to read between the lines. If he can't tone it down, he won't be seeing any of his kids. Also in this interview, Kim creepily revealed that Pete had actually got her name branded on his chest. And following the never-ending media shitstorm that seemed to follow Kanye's every tweet, more and more media pundits would stick their little snouts in, as second-best Daily Show host Trevor Noah would go back and forth with Kanye after a somber monologue on his show, where Trevor defended Kim, saying that he felt like Kanye had been harassing her after he saw the Easy video.
What I see from this situation, I see a woman who wants to live her life without being harassed by an ex-boyfriend or an ex-husband or an ex-anything. What we're seeing though is one of the most powerful, one of the richest women in the world, unable to get her ex to stop texting her, to stop chasing after her, to stop harassing her.
Following this reasonable criticism, Kanye decided to take the low road, heading straight to IG to call Trevor Noah a racial slur, which quickly earned him a 24-hour ban from Instagram, as well as the removal of his offer to perform at the Grammys, where Trevor was due to host, with this mess being followed by a very mature response from Trevor Noah, where he expressed genuine concern for Kanye's apparent abusing and harassing of his ex and her new boyfriend from escalating, with Trevor saying, "Damn, here we go again. Everybody's saying what's not for him. There are few artists who have had more of an impact on me than you, Ye. You took samples and turned them into symphonies. You took your pain and through the wire turned it into performance perfection. I thought differently about how I spend my money because of you. I learned to protect my childlike creativity from grown thoughts because of you. Shit, I still smile every time I put on my seatbelt because of you. You were a serious rapper who also knew when not to take himself seriously. You effortlessly brought comedy into music and made us all smile when we rapped along. You're an indelible part of my life, Ye, which is why it breaks my heart to see you like this. I don't care if you support Trump, and I don't care if you roast Pete. I do, however, care when I see you on a path that's dangerously close to peril and pain. You have every right to fight for your family, but you have to know the difference between that and fighting your family. I've woken up too many times and read headlines about men who have killed their exes, their kids, and then themselves. I never want to read that headline about you. If you're just joking about it all, and I'm an idiot for caring, then so be it. But I'd rather be the idiot who spoke up and said something to you in life than the cool guy who said nothing and then mourns for you in prison or the grave. Clearly some people graduate and we're still stupid. Don't ever forget that the biggest trick that the racist ever played on black people was teaching us to strip each other of our blackness whenever we disagree, tricking us into dividing ourselves up into splinters so that we would never unite into a powerful rod. I can't front though, that was funny as shit. Look after yourself, my brother, and hopefully one day we'll all be laughing about this situation and how it all ended with peace and love. And to be honest, for me, this is a good tone to end the story on, because what Trevor Noah said is one of the most poignant things to have come out in response to Kanye's recent outbursts. His threats towards Pete are the culmination of a steady decline to the bottom of the barrel for Kanye. And Trevor is right. It's so sad to see an artist that we've all admired for nearly 2 decades trashing his legacy and descending into a jealous and petty ex who can't just be the bigger man. Kanye used to say that he felt like a superhero with that Trump hat on. But these days, when he has his phone in his hand, he's coming across as nothing but a nasty villain who can't just let his family live. Yes, Kim Kardashian isn't going to be the easiest ex to co-parent with, but Kanye, you married Kim Kardashian and you were the 3rd guy to give it a try. What did you really expect? Perhaps you really were the come-up she was always looking for. Kanye is frequently boasting about his high IQ and saying that he has the intelligence of Howard Hughes, Einstein, Nikola Tesla and Walt Disney. But if his creative intelligence is a 100, then his emotional intelligence is dead 0. If he wanted a marriage that was going to last, he shouldn't have married Kim Kardashian. And if he wanted a woman he could control and who would follow him around the earth without having her own agenda, he shouldn't have married Kris Jenner's daughter. He really needs to accept that the marriage is over, and it was his behavior, particularly the presidential run, that caused that to happen. Kanye ultimately screwed up by choosing his ego over his family. But the sad truth is, Kanye just never seemed satisfied. Being the richest man wasn't enough. He had to be the most powerful man. He had to become the president. And in the end, it was that greed that caused him to lose the one thing that he really needed to keep his feet on the ground: his family. And after everything that he's done following this messy breakup, I just don't see him and Kim getting things back to the way they once were. The best thing that we can hope for is that going forward, Kanye sees sense, moves forward positively, stops embarrassing himself and his family in public, finds a new relationship that makes him fulfilled, and co-parents his children in the most positive way possible. He's a great man, but ultimately a flawed man, and without a doubt, one of the most interesting human beings who has ever lived. Hope you enjoyed that long breakdown. I pray for the best for Kanye, Kim, and Pete, and maybe with a little work, they'll all live happily ever after, even if that means happily apart. Appreciate you getting to the end of this video. Thank you for your support, and until next time, peace out.